Welcome in, everyone, to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. We got the full crew back, finally. Papa Chris is here.
Yep.
How is little Chris doing?
He's loving life.
3 generations of Chris Cherries. That is pretty. That's something special, man.
Oh yeah.
All right. A lot of football to go through. I don't think this weekend was as crazy as the past couple have been.
But it's
whatnot.
My picks are still not as special as a 3rd generation Christopher Cherry. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I don't think my picks were that great this weekend either.
I can tell you, Chris was probably happy he wasn't on Friday, though, considering what his NFL picks were last week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start off Friday. Number 5, Cincinnati, finally putting up some style points, 45-28. But I watched the first half of this game. It was closer than 45-28. I can tell you that. Desmond Ridder was great though. Had an interception, but 369 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Little under 80% completion. Really good there. I don't know why Jerome Ford didn't play in this game. I don't know if he was nicked up or what, but yeah, Ryan Montgomery was the leading rusher for the Bearcats there with 72 and 2 touchdowns.
I haven't looked at the new top 25 or whatever, but is Cincinnati in the top 4 yet?
3.
Or are they still at 5? Oh, they are at number 3? Okay.
Well, I mean,
so I was going to say, I think that they definitely deserve to be in the playoff at this point.
That's the AP coaches poll. We know tomorrow is the college football playoff.
Well, yeah.
We get the CFP poll on Tuesdays, Chris.
I know, but still.
Alabama did leapfrog them for number 2, though, in the coaches and Associated poll. Associated Press poll, sorry.
Yeah, AP poll, Cincinnati's at 3. So, but yeah, props to USF for left up a little bit of a fight on a Friday night in South Florida. So,
you take away. We'll talk about who's going to be Heisman this year. We've talked about it a little bit. You take away his 1 interception. I mean, 31 for 39 is really good numbers at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think because Jerome Ford wasn't playing in this game, I think that's why they had to throw 40 times. Jimmy Horn Jr. there for the Bulls, over 100 yards and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm actually going to go with the tackles this one. Antonio Greer, 14 tackles. 13 of them solos. Yeah. That's a good number. So, USF did cover plus 24 and over 59 easily. The other game Friday night, Boise State got the win 23-13 against Wyoming. This one was on the blue turf. Bachmeier, nice night, no turnovers. And George Halani had the ground game going for the Broncos, 5 yards per carry there. So pretty boring game though, otherwise. Yeah. I didn't watch this one because I was working, but it was interesting the way that Wyoming scored and got the backdoor cover. 13 and a half. Yeah, they were down 23-6, I believe, or 23-7. I don't know which way it was, but yeah, 75-yard touchdown, 23-7. Yeah, 74-yard touchdown with 4 seconds left to cover the spread. And that was what Isaiah Nayer's most of his receiving yards. That's what that was, 6 for 126 and touchdown. And defensively, I'm gonna go with Easton Gibbs for the Cowboys there. 12 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles lost, pass deflection. Wyoming, like I said, cover plus 13.5 and under 49. Saturday, the game we all wanted to see. Number 2, Alabama, 59-3 against New Mexico State. Hey, man, New Mexico State was up 3-0. They had a lead. They had the game in their hands in the first quarter. I was just disappointed. I said on Friday when Grayson and I were on here, I said New Mexico State was going to cover because, you know, Nick Saban's record as a 50-point favorite is terrible. He did get it done, though. We had 51 on Friday. It closed at 50. So regardless, he covered. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Young.
I have 2 takeaways from the 2 people that are going to be on a collision course. And the second part of this is going to be left for UGA. But the first part of this is the SEC East is so terrible, guys, compared to the SEC West. And so I bring this up because I hear people all the time say that Alabama doesn't play anybody. Well, they play in the SEC West, which is loaded with Auburn, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, usually on a normal, competitive balance. Even Mississippi State with their spread offense. So I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to leave the rest of it for Georgia and the reason Georgia is beating people and what will be the difference when these 2 teams collide.
What, Stetson Bennett?
Well, I mean, and it is, but I'll tell you why. Otherwise, we're going to be here on 4 hours. That's left for the Georgia game.
Yeah. Bryce Young though, 5 touchdowns.
21 of 23, guys. That's God.
The Aggies did get him though. They turned him over once. And Robinson, a little under 100 yards, 2 touchdowns there. On the ground. Yeah, that Weston Eget there from New Mexico State, the quarterback. Yeah, he's on there because he was New Mexico State's leading rusher.
One carry for 4 yards.
Yes. The leading rusher for New Mexico State had 4 yards. This is true. Jamison Williams had himself a good day, 6 for 158 and 3 touchdowns for Bama. And defensively, a lot of tackles for loss. I'm going with Chris Ojo, though, for New Mexico State. 13 tackles, 9 solos, a sack, 3 tackles for loss. Alabama, like I said, cover minus 50 and under 67. Man, New Mexico State just needed to score a touchdown. They would have been all right. Yeah, I forgot to read this this thing that was the hypothetical playoff expansion. But anyways. Number 6, Michigan, beating Penn State 21-17 in Happy Valley. And, yeah, I mean, once again, this was the same way I felt about the Ohio State game is like, Penn State was close. It's kind of been the thing of James Franklin era. Like, all right, Penn State's close, but they can't beat the top teams.
Well, you heard that from my mouth. That's been the question of what – I've never said that he needed to be fired. I never said that. I said, what do you think if he was going to leave Penn State?
There's Penn State fans that want him fired. I'm like, who are you going to get that's a better recruiter than James Franklin right now? Especially because he went to Chris and I's alma mater, East Stroudsburg, playing quarterback there. He knows the Northeast.
Well, I mean, I agree. I've never thought that he was I don't understand the USC connections besides, well, coaching staff and been on a coaching staff and vice versa, but he's not a California guy by any means.
Mm-hmm.
He's hardworking, blue collar, and I don't think he's done a bad job. I don't necessarily think it's the game plan. Look at the score here, right? It's the one position that I have always said that, and I've used him in the same correlation with Kirby Smart. You have to figure out the quarterback position.
I don't think it's a quarterback, though. I don't.
Sean Clifford was never the guy that was going to take you to the promised land.
I think Sean Clifford's playing fine. He's the only reason we've been in games. The issue is they can't run the ball. That has been the issue the entire season. Their offensive line cannot open holes in the running game. They did a good job this game. I will say that against Michigan, they did a very good job.
Which they 4.4 average is respectable. And that's why I'm saying if you can get 4.4 against a good team or a 9-1 team, then your quarterback has to elevate you. 23 or 43 is not. Nope. And we've talked about having an antagonist. Your quarterback has been the issue.
But again,
he was the issue in Iowa. Even if he didn't get hurt, he wasn't going to take you over the top to beat Iowa.
What do you mean? They were leading by 14 points against Iowa when he went down.
He still had turnovers in that game.
It didn't matter because they were winning. This is like Stetson Bennett. We're winning, Georgia. Watch we change it, right? But the other issue besides them figuring out the running game in this game was they can't block in pass protection, especially when you're going against Michigan. You have Ojabo and Hutchinson on the outsides, both, as you can see on the bottom, just demolished the tackles for Penn State in this game.
You're right. Yeah.
And
my cousin did find the end zone. I'm happy about that. He only had one reception, but it was in the end zone.
Your other one. But yeah, I mean, McNamara was efficient and turned the ball over one time. That was it. And you said Clifford didn't even turn the ball over.
But you have to have, if he goes 32 for 43, do they not win the game? Be honest.
I think another issue in this game was that who do you not see on the receiver stats here? There's no Jahan Dotson, who had a school record in receiving yards against Maryland last week.
I agree.
It was.
But that's Harbaugh saying, I'm going to take away your best defender and make you beat me as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Or your best receiver, not your best defender. I said that backwards.
I'm not a big fan of the offensive scheme that they're running right now at Penn State either. I hate the quick screens outside. It's too easy to defend. And it's an extension of your run game because they haven't been able to run the ball.
We'll get that. That's what helped Georgia this weekend. We'll get to that game. But I want to go back to, I agree with you. I don't know who Penn State would go after unless you could pluck. I keep bringing him up for many job openings, which I don't think he fits that LSU profile. But I think PJ, like if Franklin went and took a different job for some reason, PJ Fleck, I think would just kill at Penn State.
Yeah, I think similar culture, but
I wouldn't fire him and I wouldn't go after anybody else. Does that make sense? Because you still gave me stats of where they were in the conference, where they were in the college football playoff, one loss, 1 year. So,
yeah, I mean,
it's a tough division.
If Franklin was to leave, I would be fine going within. We have a guy that I believe is going to be a head coach soon in our defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, just like Georgia does, Dan Lanning. I mean, it's the same. I think both those guys should be head coaches sometime in the future. So
let me ask you this. I don't think it's on the radar, but it's in the same state. He's been passed over in the NFL. I'm speaking if I'm an athletic director. Listen, on the athletic director chair, no one has even put this out there, probably hasn't thought of it. Deuce Staley, you've been looked over. Come coach Penn State. Would you like that, or would you not? NFL player, been passed over. Fine, you got to get your first coaching job, even if you do it and you kill it for 3 or 4 years and go back to the
NFL. I wouldn't be comfortable because I don't think he's never coached at the college level, and
I'm asking your opinion. You're a Pennsylvania native.
I mean, that brings into, can he recruit effectively and recruit high-level players, the caliber that Penn State should be getting?
The reason I brought that up is you're seeing that and I know it's two different sports, but hear me out. You're seeing that with Juwan Howard at Michigan in basketball, never coached at the college level, but was an NFL or NBA player and Michigan alumni. That's where Deuce Staley has that difference. But how do you not walk into someone's house and say, look, I played in the NFL. I'm representing the best university that Pennsylvania has to offer. I was an Eagles coach. Come play for me. I think there's some correlations. And if I'm an athletic director, if I ever get to that chair, I think those are the things. If you don't have someone in mind and someone leaves, could be a home run hire. Could be fall on your face hire, though, as well.
Yeah, I don't remember where Deuce went to college, but I don't know if
I don't either. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. All right, that was a long discussion, but good.
It's some good talk. It's some good stuff.
Michigan covered -2.5 and under 48.
South Carolina.
I definitely hated this game. My brother-in-law
is where Deuce went.
Is an all Michigan fan, so that's why the first thing I texted my sister and him Saturday morning, I was like, "How's the household today?" Since my sister, obviously a Penn State fan, went to Penn State, Harrisburg. So, all right. Upset. Number 13, Baylor, 27-14 over number 8, Oklahoma. This one was in Waco. And Chris, I got to ask, the one time you go against Baylor, dude, they screw you over.
Yeah,
I thought one of us would have picked Baylor. I thought one picked Baylor on that.
I thought about it. I should have, but I thought Oklahoma was going to be able to do it. Clearly, that's not the case, and clearly Baylor's a lot better than I was expecting. Even though I've been on their train all season, but like I said, it was against Oklahoma, who up to this point was undefeated, and yeah, they've had their quarterback issues this year and all that, but I thought that they still were the better team and still would be able to do it. But yeah, again, clearly not.
This, for me, was a theme this weekend to go with your gut. We'll get to my dog pick in the NFL. I originally had the Eagles, and I said, well, my first pick was the Browns. Blah, blah. I had a feeling people were saying this could be upset city. It's, a quarterback that has to go on the road. And the one thing that I picked Oklahoma for was the end of the games, whether it's coming back against Texas. They've came back. They struggled against Tulane. I said, if it's neck and neck, Oklahoma will find a way. But here's the thing. It wasn't neck and neck. Baylor beat them from the start to the finish.
Yeah, this was gross. I mean,
it was ugly.
Caleb Williams was terrible. Spencer Rattler wasn't much better.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the ground game going. And really, you can see like Gary Bohannon didn't play any better than Caleb Williams did. Except that he scored 3 touchdowns.
He found the end zone.
His legs were the difference in the game. 9 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Abram Smith as well, 20 carries, 148 yards. They were ground and pounding the Sooner defense. That was the difference. And the Baylor offense, defense as well was great, limiting their big play threats. It was weird because Michael Woods was the leading receiver for Oklahoma, Usually you'd think it would be Hazelwood.
Mhm.
I'm blanking on the other guy that they had there. Mario Williams, I think, is another receiver they have. But yeah, Baylor in position for the Big 12 title game now. Now it comes down to Bedlam for the spot. I mean,
Not to spend another 4 hours on a game, but do we want to get into the end of this football game, or do we want to move on?
I don't know. I mean, it was interesting. It was weird.
Was it not interesting? And I'll say why for me it was even more interesting is I had the sound off. We were at a watch party and we were at a tamale fest, and with authentic Mexican family that hand rolls tamales, and we do it every year. And up to the Georgia game, we leave sound off, but we have about 2 or 3 TVs going with football. And we're just making food. And I'm like, what is going on? We've been watching it, but then I got busy doing something. And I looked up and Lincoln Riley's irate. I'm like, what is going on? And I actually was, and at first I was like, there's no time on the clock. And I did say it to everybody. You have to lose or win with the same attitude. But I figured out that there was time on the clock. People came on to the field, and there was no reason they shouldn't have backed him up 15 yards for a field goal. Now, he's also said there was a code in football or a code in whatever. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're vying for a championship or to go to that Big 12 championship, you kick that darn field goal, whether people like it or not, because if you can win a matchup by 3 points, we're playing this game to be competitive, people. Stop making a code when it makes it right and wrong to run the score up on people. If that makes sense. But there's no reason when 15,000 people come on the field that they don't have a penalty, because there was still time on the clock. So I see both coaches' views.
Again, I don't understand why he was mad. Like, it didn't matter. He was going to lose anyways, regardless of whether they kick a field goal or they take that last knee.
But it's all comes down to head-to-head, because Baylor now leapfrogs Oklahoma in point differential. And so I can understand what he was saying is they should have backed them up 15 yards to kick a field goal. And maybe that makes it harder to make it.
Well, the intriguing thing about the Big 12, look at the standings. Oklahoma's still at the top because they only have one loss. Oklahoma State still in second. They only have one loss.
And
Baylor's in third with 2 conference losses. Now,
but they
Oklahoma State beat Baylor.
Yes.
Baylor has now beaten Oklahoma. So it comes down to Bedlam.
I love the Bedlam. That is a huge, huge matchup.
What Baylor needs to happen is that they need Oklahoma State to win that game.
Yep.
Or they need Oklahoma State to lose the first one, or no. How am I doing this here?
Point differential.
They need Oklahoma State to lose the second one and win. Regardless, I think they need Oklahoma State to win Bedlam.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%.
Because the only way that Oklahoma State, if Oklahoma State loses this week and then they beat Oklahoma, it'd be a 3-way tie with everyone having 2 losses. And Baylor wouldn't get in because they lost to Oklahoma State.
Right.
Or actually, no, I think Baylor would get in.
No, what happens is
because Oklahoma State would have the points.
if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State, Baylor, they would meet.
Well, actually, if Oklahoma loses, if Oklahoma loses this weekend, and then Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State in Bedlam, that would give everyone 2 losses. And that way, I think with Oklahoma beating Oklahoma State, Baylor beating Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State beating Baylor, that would bring the points into it. And that way, I believe Baylor would get it in. I have no clue, though. A lot of scenarios that I don't know how to calculate right now offhand. But anyways, Baylor's goal, only thing they can do, keep winning.
Mhm.
I forgot to say defensively for who I picked in the Michigan-Penn State game. I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson for Michigan, 7 tackles, 2 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles lost. This game, I'm going with Terrell Bernard for the Bears, 9 tackles, 5 of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost. Baylor +4, under 63. Another upset. Mississippi State beating number 17 Auburn 43-34. And Auburn had no reason to lose this game. Absolutely none. They were up 28-3 with 6:10 remaining in the second quarter. 28-10 at halftime. From 28-3, Mississippi State scored 40 unanswered points until Auburn finally scored with 3:37 to go in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly what happened. And that is astonishing.
Like, I had no idea what Auburn was like. What are you doing? How do you not answer any scores for 40 straight points? It makes no sense. And I mean, Will Rogers was fantastic. 44-55 for 415 and 6 touchdowns. No turnovers.
I know I picked Auburn because they to me were playing good football, and you saw the score and I'm like, all right, good pick. And then all of a sudden,
yeah. And I mean, both teams weren't fantastic on the ground. Tank Bigsby especially was terrible. But again, it's kind of the same thing though. Like, you know, what else do you want from Bo Nix? 377, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, 66% completion. He just got out quarterbacked, really, and his defense didn't help him one bit. Yeah, so I mean, I really don't know why Auburn lost it other than their defense is trash.
say, I don't know either.
Yardage was exactly the same almost. They were a lot better on third downs. They were 50%. Mississippi State was only 30%. They had 9 less first downs. They actually outgained them in on the ground by about 30 yards. Penalties, I mean, 9 for 86. They had 1 turnover. That was it. At about 10 minutes less of time of possession. But again, it doesn't make sense when you look at quarterbacks alone. Receiving, Kobe Hudson, Javarius Johnson for Auburn at 100-yard games. 2 touchdowns for Polk. Calvin for the Bulldogs. Defensively, I don't know. Wooten, I guess. Chandler Wooten, 10 tackles, 6 holes, half tackle loss, 2 pass selections. My guy's Kobe McLean, though. He's my guy for Auburn, though, defensively. Big fan of him. Mississippi State plus 5.5, over 51 easily. Number 18, Wisconsin, 35-7 tromping of Northwestern. Badgers, 6 in a row now. And this one was without Ches Malusi, who he said on Friday is done for the year with a leg injury. So freshman Braylon Allen taking all the carries, and he had a decent first game with 100% workload, 25 carries, 173, 3 touchdowns.
That's a Wisconsin running back for you. Think about Monty Ball, Ron Dane,
Elvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor. And look, we're even got the Wisconsin sponsor, the Pepsi sponsor. I know Mark's in Coke country, but that's fine. But yeah, Graham Mertz, he has played a lot better. I will say that. And I trashed him early on in the season when they were 1-3. They were playing terrible on offense. And he turned it over again one time here. But 78% completion and 2 touchdowns is pretty good for how Mertz has improved. And Andrew Marty, the freshman for Northwestern, struggling in this one, 3 picks against what we know is a really good Wisconsin defense. So
we know Coke is better taste.
Defensively, I don't know who you want to pick. I mean, there's a bunch of guys here. It's a lot of Wisconsin, but actually, I think I'm going to go with the one Wildcat there, AJ Hampton Jr., because he scored their only touchdown. They didn't score offensively. It was a 49-yard fumble return for a touchdown for AJ Hampton Jr. But yeah, before we finish this game, my question to you guys: does Wisconsin have a chance against the East in the Big Ten championship? Because that's where it's leading to right now. I don't think anyone in the West is going to stop Wisconsin on their way to the Big Ten championship at this point.
Do they have a chance in the title game?
Yeah.
No.
Whether it's Ohio State, Michigan.
If it's not Ohio State, yes. And I'm not just saying that because I had Ohio State in the Final Four at the preseason. Ohio State is looking like the Ohio State that we always know hits a stride. They had an issue with their defense. Their offense is now looking like a juggernaut, and their defense is doing just enough to hold opponents. I think they look better than last year, in my opinion. That's me. That doesn't mean on any given Saturday something doesn't come up. But if Wisconsin has to face Ohio State, no, they don't have a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's Michigan or Michigan State, they have a chance.
See, I don't know. I don't even think they really have a chance no matter who they play of those 3. Because even with the way Michigan's been playing as of late, I don't think that they can lose to a team, especially like Wisconsin. Michigan State, I think, is the most vulnerable of those 3 teams. But still, if they play the way that they did earlier in the season, there's no way that they lose either.
All right. Wisconsin covered minus 25.5. And over under 42 pushed. SMU spanking UCF 55-28. Coming off back-to-back losses, they had to turn it around here. They don't have any chance at the American Championship anymore unless Houston takes a fall the last 2 weeks of the season. That would be their only shot at it. Even then, I'm not sure because I don't know if Houston's one loss is in conference or not. But yeah, Tanner Mordecai back to prominence here, 377, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Ulysses Bentley, little under 100 yards. Trey Siggers, little under 100 yards. 3 touchdowns for Siggers in this one, off 11 carries. And Mark Anthony Richards, 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns for him for the Knights, which was interesting because I wondered about him. I thought I knew the name, and turns out I did, because he, like many players on UCF, followed Gus Malzahn from Auburn to UCF. Yeah, a lot of receiving yards here, touchdowns, whatnot. Defensively, here you're going with Chris.
I don't know. There's a bunch of decent, but defensive players, but no really standout performances here. So, I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, it would be, what is that? Devere Levelston for SMU. 3 tackles, 3 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. I mean, he had 3 tackles. They were all sacks.
Yeah.
Can't get much more efficient than that.
That's my guy as well, Devere Levelston. SMU covered -7 over 62. Houston 9-1. Thromp and Temple 37-8. This was in Philly. Clayton Tune, nice day. 24, 2 touchdowns. Got a lot of help from his freshman running back, Alton McCaskill, 21 for 129, 2 touchdowns. Again, I'm going to make the case. I think Alton McCaskill easily offensive freshman of the year for the American.
Possibly.
I don't know. Some conferences call it rookie of the year. I don't know which ones do and don't. So, and yes, SMU would need Houston, or no, never mind. Yeah, so it's set. It's set that it's Cincinnati, Houston in the conference championship game, because Houston and Cincinnati both do not have a loss in conference play. The only way SMU gets into the conference title game would be to play Houston, because SMU plays Cincinnati this week. If they beat Cincinnati and then Cincinnati loses the last week of the season as well, that's the only way they get in.
So they're not going to.
Yeah.
I think Houston has a shot. That doesn't mean they're going to win. I mean, it's going to be competitive.
Granted, I would not, if Cincinnati were to fall to SMU this weekend, I would give SMU a good shot, at least a shot, of getting into the American Championship, because you know who they play. You know who Cincinnati plays the last week of the season? Mark's favorite American team.
ECU.
ECU Pirates at ECU.
They're going bowling. They're going bowling already.
With Holton Ahlers. So I would not put it past ECU, if Cincinnati is a 1-loss team, to fight and make them earn their way into the American Championship.
You know what? I'll take the L, but I am going to pick against Houston just to make it fun this weekend.
You mean Cincinnati?
I mean Cincinnati, sorry. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, Temple's a trash bucket right now. Our favorite Georgia transfer quarterback, Dwan Mathis, didn't play in this game, so we don't get to bash him, unfortunately.
Actually, I take that back. The American Athletic Conference probably won't let Cincinnati lose all year long, because it's a payout if they stay undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, I'm going with the Temple Owl, though. Safety MJ Griffin, 11 tackles, 10 of them solos, sack, 3 tackles lost, 2 pass deflections.
Big game.
Mm-hmm.
Houston covered -25, under 53. Number 24, Utah, 38-29 in a fight over the Wildcats.
I was a bit worried about this. Like, oh my gosh, there's no
Oh.
way we're all going to take an L on Utah versus Arizona.
Well, Arizona was up 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then it was Utah pretty much from there. Except, Arizona got close. They got to 21-20 and then to 31-29. But yeah, I mentioned it on Friday, and I was like, well, maybe this might be a game because Arizona got their first win in a long time last week. And Utah's just starting to hit their stride, and they're pretty much locked into the Pac-12 championship game anyways, because the South is trash in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
We talked about that at the beginning of the season.
Cam Rising had a nice day. 294, 2 touchdowns. Also added 22 on the ground touchdown as well. But Will Plummer didn't turn it over either. And really, I mean, look at the Utah running game though. 119 for Pledger. He scored twice. Leading receiver in the game for the Utes was Micah Bernard, 60 receiving yards there. So, and Arizona couldn't get anything on the ground. Reddy Short for the Wildcats, 3-yard blocked punt return for a touchdown. That's the one that got the Cats to a 31-29. They could have tied it, but they missed the 2-point conversion. And defensively, I'm probably going to go with, I don't know. It's a tough choice between Cole Bishop and Mika Tafua. I'm going to go with Tafua, though. 6 tackles, 4 solos, sack, tackle, loss, pass flexion, 2 quarterback hurries.
Yeah.
Arizona plus 24, they covered over 55. Georgia State with the upset. Grayson mentioned it. His alma mater, Georgia State.
Well, yeah, because guess who didn't play, but I still thought they had enough pieces to win this game.
I guess it's not his alma mater. He said he transferred from Georgia State, but yeah, man, 42-40. Coastal missing a 2-point conversion at the end to tie it. Yeah, I mean, McCall hopefully going to return next week for the Chants.
I don't know. I think he's gone.
This loss put to bed the very slim conference championship hopes that they had, since they had already lost to Appalachian State. They already had one loss down on them. So this loss ends the chances of them getting there. So it'll be Appalachian State, Louisiana in the Sun Belt Championship. But yeah, man, I mean, Braden Bennett, 10 carries, 128 yards, touchdown. I think the Georgia State run game was really good. And yeah, it was a close game.
In this game, I was worried about Georgia State's run game, because even lost to UNC or in the years past when Georgia State's been good, their bread and butter has always been the run game. So, in my opinion, yes, you're going to be good at the run game, but they can overcome. I thought CCU could overcome the quarterback play. They couldn't, but I will say it's a funny name, and he's on the slide every week, and even with a different quarterback, 101 yards, Isaiah Likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's a senior, so I think he should be out this year. I think by far he's my number one tight end. I mean, I'd have to see who all is out this year for the draft, but Tucker Gregg, Shamari Jones, Georgia State, Coastal, both having 3 touchdown games on the ground, similar rushing statistics. And defensively, I'm going with Javon Dennis for the Panthers there. 4 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, and a pass deflection. Georgia State plus 12.5, over 54. And it was crazy because Grayson did mention that Georgia State usually fights pretty well, and they could win it. He didn't pick them, though, I don't think. No, he picked Coastal.
He only picks his boogers.
All right. The other Sunbelt game, Appalachian State 31-7 over South Alabama. And Chase Bryce not having to do much. Did throw 2 interceptions, but scored 3 times. Cameron Peoples helped them out on the ground. And
That's the Chase Bryce I know right there.
I don't know. It was defense. App State's got a pretty good defense, so they can win with defense and run game. They don't have to ask him to throw it too many times.
Nope, I agree.
Yeah, my favorite player had a nice game for the Jaguars here. Jalen Tolbert, 7 for 108 for South Alabama. He's really the only guy I know from USA. I mean, I know their quarterback Desmond Trotter too, but Jalen Tolbert's the guy I like the most on South Alabama. And weird day for my favorite guy from Appalachian State, Thomas Hennigan, receiver there, 2 fumbles on the day there, but did score. And
You better not pick anybody else on defense.
Dude, Trey Cobb, he's a beast. 6 tackles, a solo, tackles lost, 2 picks, and a 100-yard pick 6.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Great game.
And that was the sealer. It was 24-7, and then fourth quarter just boom. Because South Alabama gets that, 24-14, and it's got a little bit of a game with about 6 minutes to go.
that's a different ball game.
App State's covered minus 21.5 and under 52. Go damn dogs. Number 1, Georgia. Railing Tennessee at Rocky Top, 41-17. Unfortunately, we gave up the most points we have all season on a BS late touchdown. But, got the run game going. James Cook had himself a day.
Well, they used him. What I like what they did with James Cook is they used him in different packages. He was wide out on single coverage for his receiving touchdown. So this brings me back to what I told you I was going to get you. The SEC East is atrocious. Atrocious, guys. The Big Ten, people like Wisconsin, Iowa would come down and be better than Tennessee and Missouri right now. So Kirby Smart has no competition in the East. And that's why you have to win a championship in this window, because no one is competing with you in the next 2, 3, 4 years in the SEC East. They're just not.
Florida might be having a new coach too.
Exactly. So I'm gonna give you some stats in the last few games that matter. And this isn't the Clemson game because we had JT there. You got a side injury. So it's 10-7 in the first quarter. We went 17-0 in the second quarter. That's going to win you a ball game.
Mhm.
That is going to win you a ball game. But that's when you go from your first string to your second string. Third quarter, 3-0 against Tennessee, and then 14-7 in the fourth quarter, which is just everybody's garbage time. Florida game, 0-0. That's first string against first string. Guess where we won that Florida game? 24-0 in the second quarter. I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving it that we're dominating people in the second quarter. Fourth quarter against Florida, 3-0. You go into the locker room, you catch your breath. It's first team versus first team. And then it's 7-7 in the fourth quarter. So that gets me back to the Alabama matchup. Guess who you're not going to dominate in the second quarter?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be even killed, which is okay because that is number one against number two, number one against number three. However, you decide a ball game, but who's not going to win you that ball game? Mr. Stetson Bennett is not going to beat Alabama. And I can't tell people enough in Athens that he averages about 28 to 32 rushing yards a game. That doesn't make someone mobile. That just means that he can escape people in the second quarter that we're dominating. He's not escaping people in the first quarter. That doesn't mean that we're going to get beat by Alabama, but I'm trying to tell anybody that's watching this show that actually knows football, we aren't dominating first-team defenses. And the people that you're going to play in the SEC championship or beyond, you're going to have to eventually dominate a first-team defense.
I think people are starting to believe in Stetson now, though. That's the thing.
Bro,
And
17 for 29 and 213 yards is not going to beat you against Alabama.
Which is true.
I don't know what there is to believe or not. And I'm not taking – because I think he's the guts – I think he's actually the toughest quarterback in college football. I've seen the kid take hits like no other when he is running. That's just not – I don't know. Prove me wrong, hopefully.
The nice thing is more than likely we're going to see JT in both of the last two games against Charleston Southern and Georgia Tech. Which I would caution against Georgia Tech. It is in Atlanta, not in Athens. It is a rivalry game, regardless of how Georgia Tech is. Just saying. What I question in this game, which is ridiculous as well, because even though, they two quarterbacks play, but Cedric Tillman, 10 receptions, 200 yards, and a touchdown. That is what everyone has been saying the entire year, is if you can get to Georgia's secondary, you can beat them. It's the fact of getting time to throw the ball. That's been the issue for people against Georgia's defense. And I don't think that they had necessarily enough time to throw the ball, but they got it out quick enough to Cedric, and he made the most of his 10 receptions. So,
but besides the numbers, and I'm analytical, but I'm also intuition. Like you need to switch quarterbacks. That's why Nick Saban went from Jalen Hurts to Tua. I've said it. James Cook got the workload, or the game plan was centered around him. What have I been saying? Stop feasting on four people. Get away from that. You go your top two running backs and you play.
Yeah. Let's see.
And I think at this point, JT is not hurt on his quad injury. If we don't see him the rest of the year, I'm gonna just come out on a plank and say this: he's now afraid to get hit. And people would say, why? Because you went from a knee injury the previous year, but played good after coming back, but then got hit significantly, and another injury. It has to be psychological at this point, unless the coaching staff really thinks Stetson Bennett is going to just give you a championship.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, CJ Stroud is a better option.
Channing Tindall had a fantastic game. 8 tackles, 6 holes, 3 sacks, 3 tackles plus, and a quarterback hurry. Got to watch some of the injuries coming out of this game, though. That was the questionable decision to go for the points record. And we saw Jordan Davis get hurt. We saw who else got hurt? There's two other guys. I forget who. I just know one of them was Jordan Davis that got injured. So
I just know that I was pulling my hair out when we played their first team offense and defense. And it goes back to I wasn't happy with the Florida game because we were beating up on the second and third string. We're not going to beat up on Alabama's second and third string. And me as a coach, I want to beat the best. And that's not going to do it.
Georgia covered minus 19.5 and over 56. This was another one I was wrong on. I said take the points with Tennessee. It was 20 at that point on Friday. I thought 20 would be enough for Tennessee to cover, but apparently not. Number 4, Ohio State beating number 19 Purdue 59-31 at the shoe. And again, another quarterback performance where I'm like, what else do you want from the man? Aiden O'Connell, I was almost correct in my prediction on Friday. I told Grayson this man was going to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he almost did. 390 and 4 touchdowns ain't bad either.
That's a heck of a game.
It's kind of like the Auburn game, though. You know, C.J. Stroud has had more touchdowns. Yeah. And Ohio State ran the ball, which Purdue couldn't do at all. So
I don't think we've seen Ohio State run it. This is the first game that I've seen Ohio State have both in sync. Does that make sense? One game most of the game it's been just throwing and somewhat running or running and zero throwing. If they can put this together, and Purdue doesn't have the defense that you see in the SEC, so I will say that. I'm not taking anything away from that. But they keep getting better each week, in my opinion, after that Oregon loss. And they really put it together in this game, especially after Purdue beat 2 top 5 teams.
Mhm.
Ryan Williams and Travion Henderson combined for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Garrett Wilson, 126, 3 touchdowns, also had a 51-yard rushing touchdown. You know, David Bell, another 100-yard performance. I mean, that's all he does for Purdue is put up 100 yards every day. And Milton Wright there for Purdue, almost 100 yards as well. Marcus Guy Olave, 9 for 85 and a touchdown. And yeah, a lot of touchdowns. Just not enough defensively for Purdue to get it done. I picked them. I'm not gonna say I didn't on Friday. I called them giant killers. They were 2-0 against top 5 teams this year. I figured I'd take a shot. I was down so far in the points. Anyways, I needed it, so that was a good pick, but couldn't get it done. I think this is one of those where, you know, maybe if it's at Purdue, they got a chance.
Yeah.
I could see that. I mean,
defensively, I'm gonna go with Lathan Ransom for Ohio State, 6 tackles, 3 solos, half tackle floss, 2 pass deflections. Ohio State covered minus 19 over 65 easily. Number 20, Iowa beating Minnesota 27-22. Another lone wolf I had, and this one I thought should have happened because, and you know, Minnesota had the ball, they were driving, and then they went, 4 straight incompletions and just couldn't get anything going. So
I solely picked this game off a defense that was really good all season, kind of stumbled, but I thought would recalibrate, and they did just enough, if that makes sense. I picked Iowa, and at one point I was like, oh gosh, when Minnesota got the ball back, marching down the field, and I said, well, I picked this wrong, and then they got the stop, and that's what I bet on was their defense. I haven't liked their offense all season, but I haven't liked the Minnesota offense all season either.
Yeah, Tanner Morgan struggled. Padilla actually played well for Iowa, despite his completion percentage. 3 total touchdowns. Kai Thomas for Minnesota, 29 for 126 on the ground. Really good day. Chris Altman-Bell, 5 for 109 touchdown. Charlie Jones for Iowa, 2 for 106 in a touchdown. And then defensively, I know Chris wants to go with Jack Campbell.
That is a lot of tackles, but only 6 solo.
Yeah, that would be the reason I am going with Zach Van Valkenburg. 10 tackles, 6 of them solos, sack, 3 tuck swaps, and a QB hurry. NFL player Van Valkenburg is. Iowa covered -4 over 37. Number 23, UTSA Roadrunners, baby, 10-0. Let's go, 27-17. I have no idea why they struggled so much. Absolutely, this was not a good game for UTSA. However, regardless of winning, it was really terrible. I kind of wish I would have watched it just to see how this actually was happening, because really weird situation for Southern Miss. So they had quarterback injuries, and I don't know if they didn't come into the game with a quarterback healthy or what happened, because there was no quarterback that threw a pass for Southern Miss in this game. I believe Frank Gore Jr. was technically the starter at quarterback. They ran Wildcat the entire game, and 20 carries, 123 yards, touchdown. Nice game for Gore. As you can see, he was 2 of 3 for 33 yards in the passing game. And then in the second half, they switched to Antavius Willis there. He ran 19 for 46, fumbled it twice, 2 for 4, 19 yards and a pick in a passing game. So not as good as Frank Ford Jr. actually in the passing game. But really, it was the Eagle defense that was really the reason why Southern Miss even had some semblance of a chance to be in this game. Natrone Brooks down there, great game. 3 tackles, a solo, tackle for loss, pass selection, QB hurry, and a 34-yard pick 6 off of Frank Harris, one of his 2 picks. Otherwise, I mean, Sincere had a decent day, 90 off 19 touches, 19 carries, and a touchdown. But yeah, Quintez Cephas' brother, Joshua, 8 for 106 and a touchdown. Again, Roadrunners 10-0. Love and life.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a shame that they're so low on the rankings, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. I am still holding out hope that Cincinnati makes the playoff and that UTSA is the highest ranked non-Power 5 team, and that they can get into a New Year's Six bowl. That is my dream for this year. For the New Year's Six at large bid is to get UTSA into a New Year's Six bowl.
It is my dream that Cincy makes college football playoff. I don't think they will. And UTSA won't get higher than number 10. They will not get into the inside of number 10.
Oh, no. Yeah, the AP has them at 15. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything. They still have to fight. I believe let's see, where are the college football playoff rankings for last week? So their biggest competitors right now are BYU, who was at 14 last week. They didn't play this week. Or did they? No, they didn't. They were off. And then San Diego State is their only other competition that is ranked, or that was ranked last week. I think the issue is I think Houston's going to be ranked this week. But are you going to take are you going to take a 10-0 UTSA team or a 9-1 Houston team? Come on.
Who's going to make you more money?
Who's going to be a better competitor in the New Year's Six? Probably Houston. But come on.
I'd still like to see Sincere McCormick run over somebody
on national television, on national TV.
I look orange.
But yeah, we got 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks and then conference championships to make it happen. So
let's do it.
All right. Yeah, I already said everything in this game. I think need to say Southern Miss plus 32.5, under 55. UAB upset on the road in Huntington, West Virginia, baby. 21-14. I think Chris Lone Wolf Marshall.
You know, he did. He did, and I'm not making fun of him because I didn't realize that this was the memorial game for the flight that went down from East Carolina, because they usually try to play East Carolina during that week for Memorial. And so when I understood that, I said, oh, well, taking UAB is going to lose me this game. But lo and behold, UAB won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only reason I took UAB was it was a gut feeling. I just thought the defense was going to play outstanding in the game, and that they did. Only held them to 14 points. Dylan Hopkins did enough. Was helped out mightily by Dwayne McBride on the ground.
108 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. It was a great time.
And you had a 100-yard receiver in tight end Garrett Prince, which if you have a 100-yard rusher, 100-yard receiver,
200-yard receivers.
You're going to win a ball game. You're going to win a ball game.
200 of Dylan Hopkins, 250 yards went to Prince.
Well, he only made 13 completions. Think about that. He only looked.
Half of them went to those two guys.
He was only looking their way.
Half of the completions went to those boys there. So, yeah, not a lot of defensive stats. But let's go with Marshall, man. Abraham Beauplan, 15 tackles, 5 solos, half a sack, 2.5 tackles for loss. Brandon Drayton had 14 tackles too. So UAB plus 4.5, under 55. Louisiana, Raging Cajuns 9-1, 35-21 over Troy. Knew this was going to be a decent game. Gunnar Watson was back for the Trojans here. Very good quarterback for Troy over his couple of years there in Alabama. But yeah, Levi Lewis, great game. 4 total touchdowns there. 210 yards total. Chris Smith, Montrell Johnson, that's the lifeblood of Louisiana, though. Those two guys running the ball. Yeah. They get it done. So, yeah. And they're just kind of biding their time there. That's another conference where it's like, dude, the West is terrible. I think they're East-West in Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
even if it's north-south, it's a big discrepancy.
Yeah, the West division is freaking terrible in the Sun Belt. Louisiana has no competition. Usually every single year, there's just no one. And then it's like the East is you got Coastal and App State, and that's it. So,
Mhm.
and then you have the occasional Georgia Southern year every once in a while. Yeah, but Louisiana, good game here. And Farad Gardner, 11 tackles, 6 holes, tackle for loss, pass selection, and a pick. I don't know if he's Cincinnati Ahmad's brother, Ahmad Gardner, the corner for the Bearcats.
I don't know.
Louisiana, -6.5. They covered over 48. Number 7, Michigan State rolling over Maryland 40-21. This one was in East Lansing, I believe.
Looky here, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kenneth Walker.
Give him the trophy.
Can he not get an invite to New York? Can he please get an invite? Can he not? Can he not? That's the question.
I think he'll get to New York at the very least.
Mhm.
I think right now it's Bryce Young, Kenneth Walker, and the third one I have no clue.
Up for grabs against a couple people that I have in mind, but
I would I'd probably say it's Corral.
that
Yeah.
was going to be I was going to say Matt Corral, but could you throw in a defensive player, or has there been too many injuries on the defensive side?
Actually, you know what? I'd actually probably say CJ Stroud at this point.
He is, man. He is really rocking right now.
Yeah, the Fighting UIs fighting to get a bowl. They got 2 weeks to get one. And they play. Please tell me they don't play hard people. They play Michigan. They play Michigan this week. And luckily for them, they play Rutgers the last week. But unluckily for them, Rutgers is favored in that game
Mhm.
because that might be for a bowl game. Both teams will probably be 5-6 because Penn State's playing Rutgers this weekend. So that could be a bowl, a win and in situation.
And wait, is it in Jersey or where is it?
the Penn State game?
No, the
Maryland.
other game.
It's in Jersey.
Yeah, so Rutgers is winning that one. So Maryland's not making a bowl.
Yeah. FPI gives Rutgers a 65% chance to win. But Maryland could get lucky. I know they mentioned before the season that this year they're going to it seems like they have more bowls, so they're probably going to have to put some 5 and 7 teams in. Whether Maryland is one of the stronger 5 and 7 teams, who knows? But maybe Maryland helps me out and helps my ego, and they beat Michigan this weekend.
That would be cool.
Because it's
Wouldn't
in
mind that.
College Park. It's in College Park. I will just say that. Fear the turtle.
They're capable of scoring a lot of points, and Michigan can give up a lot.
Fear the turtle. We need to ask Dave if he's going to the game.
Up to this point, we all have a really good record in college football this week.
I don't know
Mhm.
about me. I had a lot of lone wolves that lost, but yeah,
This next game, you lone wolf.
Peyton Thorne, 287, 4 touchdowns. Great times there. Yeah, but like you said, Walker with 143, 2 touchdowns off 30 carries. Jaden Reed, 100 yards. Okonkwo with 100 yards, 2 touchdowns for each of those guys. Rakeem Jarrett with 100 yards, 10 receptions for the Terps. And defensively, Noah Harvey for Michigan State, 5 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tackle, loss, pass deflection, and a pick. Michigan State covered -11.5, over under 61 pushed. Number 15, Ole Miss upsetting number 11 A&M, 29-19. Yes.
You got this one right.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on Friday, man. I'm going with better quarterback. Now, did he play as the better quarterback? Not really, but they had the run game rolling. So
he did enough, and that was my deciding factor. I went back and forth before I put in our pick, and I said, do I really? And I've said it all season long. I don't trust Jimbo Fisher and his team. What did I double down on? If you remember every show last year, I was all about offense, right? And now this season, Georgia's defense, I think it can lead them to the championship. And I just kept telling myself, Texas A&M does enough. That's why they beat Alabama. That's why they skate by. I like their defense. I do not like Jimbo Fisher. But in the end, I should have went with Mr. Rusty Miller because Matt Corral did just enough. He did. That's what won them this ball game. If, on the other hand, if Texas A&M had a quarterback like Matt Corral, I think they would be facing Georgia in the SEC championship this year.
I won't say Matt Corral won the game though. The Ole Miss defense played outstanding. As you can see, they picked off Calzada twice, and AJ Finley there. His 52-yard pick six was the turning point of the game because this was a 15-0 game early, I believe it was for Ole Miss.
Well, I don't even think it's
15-0 at half.
I don't think it's a Mississippi defense. Does that make? I think it's a Texas A&M quarterback not playing. They're a quarterback away from being the SEC West champion. I mean, you look at all the stats. Texas A&M on defense. Deion Leonard, 9 tackles, 5 solo, 3 pass deflections. And you have 1 interception for 1 touchdown for 52 yards and 8 tackles. Yeah, AJ Finley. But you have a quarterback that plays better than Texas A&M wins this. I don't think it's anything that the defensive coordinator drew up on Mississippi's side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they did take advantage of a freshman quarterback, no doubt. But at the same time, I think you're seeing, Lane Kiffin they do have a good defense this year. It's not
better than
it's not the old Ole Miss. Yeah, it's
way
not
better.
the old Ole Miss, man. They used to give up points like hell, and they don't this year. So
and that's
in some games and certain
that games. And that is the positive or the scary thing is the longer he's there, he can solidify his defense and get relationships like Matt Corral as a quarterback because he's always been a really good quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that I didn't like about this game, though, was that Ole Miss gave up the middle of the game because, like I said, it's 15-0 at half. A&M scored 13 straight to make it 15-13, and then Ole Miss scored a touchdown, got the pick six, got another interception, and that was ball game. So,
I still don't understand why Texas A&M gave Jimbo Fisher an extension.
Yeah, Devin Achane had a nice game again, 12 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, and I'm sticking with Finley as my guy on defense. So, Ole Miss plus 1.5, under 58. We don't have to talk about this one very long. Number 9, Notre Dame, 28-3 in Charlottesville. Again, I knew this game was going to be terrible. We knew Brennan Armstrong wasn't playing for Virginia because he got injured against BYU. And yeah, what was weird though is that Jay Woolfolk threw for more yards than Cone did, but Cone threw for 75% and 3 touchdowns. So, I guess
the only takeaway I have from this is the running back still isn't. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be in Heisman contention. What scares me is guess who's 9-1. And I've said all season they play hard people. But towards the end of the season, they don't play hard people. Then they get refreshed And then the committee's like, oh, there's a team over here that's played USC, Wisconsin, Florida State, even though it was close, but it's a Power 5. And they haven't played the New Mexico States. They haven't played the Charleston Southerns. They haven't played the Citadels. And that's what people don't realize that are fans of Georgia, fans of Alabama, fans of whatever, because they don't play in a conference. Well, no, their schedule is harder, but they put it in the front of the season so that they jump on people when they're trying to figure things out. And then the committee's left with a 11-1 team that might be the same as Oregon, and they go, let's put Notre Dame in there, right? Does that not happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've never been a big Notre Dame person.
And I'm not either, but I think that's the way they justify their rankings, right? Because that's what I saw this week. I saw 9-1 and number 9, and it scared me because we've seen them not play good against Florida State or Wisconsin, or what was one of their other teams that they beat that wasn't very good. And then they sneak up on people and they're in the college football playoff. And it's like, how? Why?
They're not getting to the college football playoff. That's for sure. That's fine. They can stay in the top 10. I don't care. I don't think they're going to get much higher than where they're at right now. I don't think they ever.
They should not break number 7.
Yeah.
I just throw, and if they do, if they break number 7, I think they have a legitimate shot at being in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I don't think there are less. I don't believe they're even close to being one of the best 6 teams, or like you said, 7 teams in the country. So, yeah.
Michael Meyer, though, is a stud coming into that.
Keaton Thompson for Virginia, 9 for 110. He's that crap, I'm blanking on the word. Quarterback switch positions. What do you call that? I know.
He reminds me of like a Melvin or a Robinson. What's the first? Melvin? Not Mel. Yeah, Melvin.
Oh, Michael Robinson.
Michael Robinson, yeah.
Quarterback at Penn State, fullback for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Can
kind of just do it all.
Yeah. Converted. That's the word I'm looking for. Converted quarterback. Yeah, he's a do it all. Tight end. He plays tight end, but he also runs the ball a little bit. Mike Mayer is fantastic for the Irish. Defensively, I don't know. There's a couple guys. I'm going to go with Justin Ademalola for the Irish. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles lost. I should have went with Bo Bauer, I guess, because he had the added pass deflection as well. But oh well. Mark can go with him. Yeah. Notre Dame covered -9 under 62. Easy. Number 12, Wake Forest 9-1, 45-42 win over number 16 NC State. Fantastic game. Both quarterbacks struggled. I mean, look at that. 5 picks between them. 8 touchdowns between them, though. And running games was not there for either team. Zonovan Knight, though, for the Wolfpack did kick in a 100-yard kick return touchdown. But I was scared at one point. I thought NC State was going to get it. And I laughed Mark on Friday when we were on. I was like, Mark has shit on NC State so many times. And then what does he do? He lone wolfs them against the Demon Deacs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to lone wolf, and I did. I said, look, but hear me out on this. I told you Wake Forest was going to lose to either UNC, NC State, or Clemson, and they did lose to UNC, and I said, you know what? Dave Doran's been around here a long time. I've crapped on NC State enough. It's their time and every time that I picked against them, they beat me. And I said, I'm jumping on that wagon. And for a minute, it did look good, right? Did it not look good for a minute? And then Wake Forest came back. And if no one saw this, by the way, this was a really good ending of a game. It was a great onside kick. And you can't even get mad at the receiver because he caught it about the 8.8 yard line before it was the 10 yard line on the onside kick. And he just got eager. If he would have just waited a milliliter of second, it would have been the 10 yard line because no Wake Forest player was getting that. If you didn't see it, they kicked an onside kick after they tied it. They were down, or they were down something. I don't remember the score when I was watching it, but NC State battled back because I was watching the game and I was like, it's over. Wake Forest won this, and then NC State scored and said, I'm going to get the ball back and try to win this game, and the receiver caught it at the 8.8 yard line on an onside kick.
Well, Amika Amazi had an amazing game. 10 for 133, 2 touchdowns. Dude, the one touchdown he had was freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Toe tap in the end zone. that kid is something else. Devin Carter also having a 100-yard day for the Wolfpack, 7 for 132, 2 touchdowns and a fumble.
So what does this look? I don't think ACC will get. Well, actually, I know they won't get someone into the college football playoff. But what are the standings now? Do we have the standings for that? Is it Wake Forest against?
It'll be
Pittsburgh against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I want to say I do want to say it's set in stone. Technically, it's not. There is. Let me see. Actually, it might be. No,
I think
big game this weekend.
Okay.
Pitt, Virginia will decide the Coastal.
Gotcha.
Wake Forest has already won the Atlantic.
Gotcha.
Technically, Wake Forest has not won the Atlantic. I will say that.
Do they have to beat Clemson still?
They would have to lose out, and Clemson would have to win out in order for Clemson to win the Atlantic.
Okay.
Because they have 2 games over them right now. But they play this weekend at Clemson. But I don't think Wake's going to lose out anyways because they have to play. Clemson might not win out either because Wake goes to Clemson to Boston College, which Boston College with Phil Dracovic back is a different team, and Pat Garwell at running back. But
I'm not gonna lie. I think Clemson can still make the ACC championship game.
You know why? You know why they won't? Because Clemson's last game of the season, the rivalry game, in Columbia, South Carolina.
But that's non-conference.
True. Oh, I didn't think about that. So, I mean, that means Wake's already got them. Yeah.
There's no way because Clemson has 3 losses. Even if Wake loses to Clemson, they should make them.
No, Wake still could lose if they lose out. And Clemson, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
If they beat Wake Forest and then Wake Forest loses to Boston College, Clemson would win the Atlantic.
Oh my gosh, that would just be something. Oh my.
Because NC State has already lost to Wake, and they beat Clemson. So, which that would be an intriguing scenario too. I don't know how that would work. How the 3-way tie would work. Wake beat NC State beat Clemson, Clemson beat Wake.
It would either be
losses.
It would have to be point differential. That's why Baylor's field goal is so big against Oklahoma.
I mean, Wake easily wins that.
Right.
Even if you take it to conference points, I mean, they still have almost 90 points on Clemson. and they have about 50 points on NC State.
That's why I'm looking for a Wake
That's
Forest
just confidence.
Pitt. I'm looking for a Wake Forest Pitt matchup, which I think is more intriguing than any scenarios. Besides, oh look, Clemson is back in the ACC championship with 3 losses.
If the crazy thing is, if you look out of conference, if you look at the total points, Wake's got about 200 more points than Clemson does, and about 125 more points than NC State does. Partly due to their 70-pointer at Army. All right. Wake Forest -1. They covered over 65. Easy money. Defensively, Jasheen Davis for the Demon Deacons. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles loss. Number 25, Arkansas over LSU, 16-13 in overtime. I'm so mad, dude. I lone wolfed the Tigers. I thought they were going to have a chance. They were fighting for Edo at home, trying to get to a bowl game. They had a freaking 10-3 lead at halftime. God, man, they gave it away in the third quarter, tied it up early in the fourth, and then the overtime was just terrible. It was ridiculous how bad the overtime was. But yeah, Arkansas got the win somehow.
I'm glad because I picked Arkansas.
Yep.
And I just did some weeks I differentiate. I went with the defensive team. I thought, I thought they were going to be able to just stop LSU, and to some extent they did. 16-13 is very little, especially an overtime game. I didn't get to watch this, so anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. The quarterback play was not good for LSU. And did Max Johnson get hurt, or they just didn't play him a lot? Would be my question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I picked this up late in the fourth quarter when they were down 13-10.
And Arkansas has never had like a world beater quarterback. He threw it a little bit. He usually does a lot with his legs. But my question is, how do you have a 106? I mean, it's only 3.8 average. But if you're handing it off 26 times, you think you would be able to dictate the game. That's why I didn't get to watch it. There had to been LSU's quarterback lost it, or the play call, like you said. I didn't even get to watch the overtime. So if there was bad play call, that comes down to coaching or the quarterback play.
Well, they turned it over 3 times. They were -3. LSU was in turnover differential. But yeah, I think they definitely have something to build on for whoever is the next head coach.
Right.
Tyrion Davis-Price has been great for LSU all season. It's just, can they find the next quarterback? And, can they get their recruiting back to where it was, during the 19 championship and whatnot? So still waiting to hear who that coach is. I don't think they'll announce it until
after the championship.
Until Edo's officially out.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Bumper Pool because I like the name. I just think it's funny or a unique name. There's other people on there, but for Arkansas in a winning game, 13 tackles, only 6 solo, but 2 tackles for a loss. And what I like is you're getting in the backfield, you're dropping back, 1 pass deflection.
I'm going with LSU. Micah Baskerville. He's their leading tackler on the season, I believe. It's either him or
That's a lot of tackles for loss, homie.
12 tackles, 7 solos, 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss.
That's a lot of tackles for loss.
Arkansas -3 pushed and under 60 easily. Number 10, Oklahoma State. Obliterating TCU 63-15.
Hold on.
It was in that one.
Hold on. That's a basketball. 63 points.
Yeah, I don't think Patterson was helping TCU for this one. He said, "I helped you with Baylor. I can't help you with Oklahoma State." Uh, but yeah, I mean, what about the Oklahoma State run game? Holy crap! Let me just get to make sure what their total. They ran for 447 yards
Oof.
against TCU, 682 total yards, 62 rushing attempts, 7.2 yards per carry. What's also crazy, they were -2 in turnovers. And that was the only bad thing you could say about Oklahoma State. Another really crazy thing, they only had one penalty for 15 yards. That was it. Great job for them, disciplined day. But yeah, your cousin, Jalen Warren, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Great day for him, once again.
When you have anyone that runs 11.2 average and 6.6, you're going to have a good day.
And the third back, too, man. He had a 23-yard average. 3 carries. That included a 63-yard touchdown.
I'm not even going to talk defensively because
oh wait, they had a 4th one too. I forgot. Desmond Jackson.
That's when you give up 63. There's no one to talk about. I'm sorry. There's no one that we need to talk about in Oklahoma State.
Yeah, there is. You can talk about TCU's defense. Colt Ellison, 28-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Get out! No, get out of here. Move on, please.
And Oklahoma State, Cameron Farmer, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss there. But yeah, 4 backs over 4 yards. Actually, for people that ran 10 plus times, this includes Spencer Sanders. They all were 4.5 or more yards per carry. Yeah. Total rushing stats, like I said, 62 carries, 447 yards, 7.2 yards per carry, and 8 rushing touchdowns. That's a day. That's quite a day for the Cowboys. Now just do it against Oklahoma, please. Thank you. Oklahoma State covered -11 over 54. Oklahoma State got it by themselves. Number 3, Oregon, 38-24 win over Washington State. This one was in Eugene. Nice night for the Ducks. Anthony Brown was not great. He was running the ball very well. This felt kind of like Gary Bohannon's stat line for Baylor.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with you on that one.
Cardwell was great for the Ducks on the ground, 9 for 98 and 2 touchdowns. Travis Dye, like I said, dude, all that man does is score touchdowns. That's all he does. Another 2 in this game, and 88 yards on the ground to go with 6 receptions for 25 yards. Yeah.
So we're talking about New York, right? And we know that someone's been injured. But every time he's been on the field, he just produces. Look at that stat line. 6 tackles, 6 solo, 2 tackles, or 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, if he played every game and had those, can we stop inviting just 3 people? Can maybe we make the Heisman or a 4, like 3 offensive and 2 defensive, and just make it 5 people? Because Jordan Davis is just making UGA different as well.
I thought it used to be 4. A couple of years ago, I thought they always brought 4 in.
There might be. I think the invites can be whoever's playing really well, maybe.
Or doesn't it matter because it's pre-voted? That's they vote on it before they invite them. So I think it matters, if there's a tie for points for 3rd place.
I would like to see 3 offensive players and 2 defensive every year because everybody's going to be enamored with the offense. But why not have a Charles Woodson aka the best college football player outside Tim Tebow.
You know,
Why don't you have two defensive players as well? If they're good enough to be invited.
I think they could increase TV ratings if they moved towards the NFL awards and they made a college football awards show where you handed out all the awards. But their thing is going to be the stupid Heisman Foundation. They're going to be like, oh, no, we have to have our own day. Stupid freaking traditional Heisman people.
But maybe we can talk to them about having more people. Because wouldn't it be funny if Baker Mayfield bought 65 Altimas for Kayvon Thibodeau or Jordan Davis, and they looked at him and said,
or you know what? If they want to have their own night still, that's fine. We can put the Heisman on Saturday night, and we'll put the college football award show on a Friday night,
and include an MVP,
and have them both in the same city, both in New York, just at different venues.
Because MVP and Heisman are two different categories, in my opinion.
One bigger one for the overall award show, where you got all the awards, and one smaller one for just the Heisman Award.
Mm-hmm. And Reggie Bush should be in the Heisman.
But that's the thing, though; they wouldn't be able to do their hour-long Heisman because they announce awards. They announce other awards during the Heisman show, which is stupid too, I think.
It's just rich white people in their club. Damn white people.
Yeah. Back to the Oregon game, though. Travell Harris for the Cougars, 8 for 109 and a touchdown there. Defensively, I got to go with Kayvon Thibodeau. Great
Number
stuff.
one overall pick right there.
Yes, sir. Unless the Lions want to be the Lions and give it to the Eagles. That would be nice.
Eagles aren't going to be the number 2 pick. Get out of here.
They have the Dolphins pick, remind you.
Dolphins won't be number 2 either.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
They're going to be up there somewhere.
Let's take. Here's the thing. There's no lottery in the NFL, so let's take bets.
If the Dolphins get to number 3,
no,
I think the Eagles would have a chance.
Chris, you want to take a bet on this?
I mean, he's not wrong about if they're at number 3, but there's way too many bad teams. The Dolphins.
Well, if the Jets would just keep winning, Chris.
The Lions, the Texans, the Jaguars. I mean, those 3 people aren't going to be better or worse than the Dolphins or Eagles. You just beat the Broncos 30-30.
The Dolphins are only a half game up above the Jets and Jaguars right now.
Well, just for
Jets would be stupid to win more games, but they've been scared.
The Jets are playing against the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins twice. So those 4 games could really make a difference in the draft right there.
Well, all the Jets have to do, Chris, like I said, win the game. Like Herman.
Jaguars are going to beat them.
To win the game.
Jaguars and Dolphins are beating the Jets.
Right, Mark? Like Herm said, you play to win the game.
You get paid to win the game. That is one of the greatest speeches. That is one of the. I actually saw that this week and got me motivated.
Oh yeah.
All right. That was my
All right,
great.
Let's move on.
Oregon covered -13.5 over 58. Number 22, San Diego State. Eakin won out 23-21 in Carson, California.
Chris got this on the lone wolf cherry bomb.
That was probably my best pick of the week. That was probably my only good pick of the week here.
Probably because he won by 2.
I was so mad. This, first off, not just because I got it wrong picking, but because it crushes my dreams of Nevada winning the Mountain West, like my preseason prediction was. And I really thought they had the game. Carson Strong got the ball back down 2 minute plus, no timeouts. I was like, bro, there's no chance. No chance they stop Carson Strong. Then they got to like midfieldish and they couldn't get past that. And it wasn't his issue. I mean, what do you want? 350 and 3 touchdowns.
He did have a game. He did have himself a game.
And I think the biggest thing is that Lucas Johnson didn't turn the ball over.
This was the first game where you saw a quarterback outplay another quarterback in a losing effort. Everything we've talked about up to this point has been, well, maybe they should have ran with their legs a little bit, or they turned it over a little bit, or this or that. Carson Strong, that's why I picked Nevada. And we've been talking about the quarterback play. And the one game that I differentiated on my defense is going to win this game.
I'm just saying this. I don't care who it is, and it's most likely going to be Utah State against San Diego State in the conference championship. Utah State is going to roll San Diego State. I'll put my money on that.
I think that's a good prediction. I think that's because
in no way should San Diego State be 9-1 right now. Their quarterback is terrible. I don't care if he won this game. He won it because Greg Bell ran for 100 yards. And he made enough throws and didn't turn the ball over. But, I mean, if you look at their games, they beat New Mexico State by 18 points. You know, their best win is Utah, which they won in triple overtime. You know, they had to get a double overtime to beat San Diego State, who, which we'll get to next, who just got destroyed by Utah State this weekend, did San Jose State. They beat Air Force by 6, Hawaii by 7, and now they win this one by 2.
There's one factor in every game, and I agree with you. Your quarterback play has to get to the level of you winning ball games. But Cameron Thomas, 10 tackles, 5 solo, 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for a loss at a quarterback hurry is going to make whoever they play a bad day in the backfield. But I do agree with you that I think Utah State, we'll get to that the next game, has somebody that can beat them, even though Carson Strong is good. But what do you not see on Nevada's side? Not a good running game.
Also, what killed Nevada, they didn't have their best receiving threat. Now, Romeo Dobbs is fantastic. I love Romeo Dobbs. Cole Turner didn't play in this game. They're tight end. They're 6'6" tight end. And I think they really missed him in the red zone. They even tried to throw one up. They bring in their backup quarterback to throw a fade to because he's 6'9", their backup quarterback is. So, and they didn't get that one, but they did get a touchdown then to Dobbs at the end. But yeah, I was disappointed though. I stayed up late to watch the game, and yeah, like I said, Dobbs 9 for 127, 2 touchdowns, and yeah, Mark got it. Cameron Thomas, number 99, unblockable all night. Nevada did cover though, plus 2.5, and under 45 by 1. That late field goal by San Diego State hurt a lot of people and made a lot of people happy at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever side you were on the spread and whichever side you were, well, it didn't matter for the over-under because Nevada didn't get a chance to kick the game winner. But yeah, so like I said, Utah State crushed San Jose State 48-17. I have no clue what Vegas was thinking, making San Jose State a 4-point favorite.
They did. Would it not have been the easiest underdog in the NFL if it was flipped?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Logan Bonner balled out. He did turn it over twice, but 263, 4 touchdowns. The running game wasn't great, but they scored 2 touchdowns apiece, or one touchdown apiece there. Tompkins is amazing. The craziest part about Devin Tompkins He's a little bit bigger than I am. He's 5'8". But man's a beast. 5 for 127. Neither quarterback did much for San Jose State. The Utah State defense was balling out. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Mountain West Championship now. Now that I know it's not going to be Nevada, I'm all in on the Aggies. Yeah, Kyle Harmon for San Jose State, though. Yeah, nice night for him, I would say. Wouldn't you, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
18 tackles, 9 solos, pass deflection chipped in there.
I mean, I would have liked to see double-digit solos, but
yeah. Kenyon Reed for San Jose State as well, 58-yard pick six. And then a Johnny Carter for the Aggies, sack, tack, floss, pass deflection, and a pick there. Utah State +4, over 58. FCS game of the week. We all got it right. I was shocked. I was shocked no one took a chance on UC Davis being the
I have to defend Rusty. I usually go, I don't know enough about FCS, but I blatantly said I'm taking Eastern Washington, and then we all took them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going back to our coverage of the FCS in the spring, and I didn't really like UC Davis when we were doing that, so I was going back to my knowledge of them in the spring. But it looks like they're doing a lot better in the fall here than they did in the spring. But either way, I still was going with Eastern Washington because I knew that they were the better team. They were obviously the higher ranked team and all that. But yeah, I had to go with them.
UC Davis is Chris's second most hated team besides Weber State in the FCS.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. My thing, again, was kind of like the A&M Ole Miss game. I was going with the better quarterback. I didn't know that Rodriguez wasn't playing for UC Davis. I think that would have made this a little bit closer. But Eric Barrier, amazing. 4'11", 3 touchdowns, 42 yards on the ground as well.
I went with Eastern Washington because you guys know I went out to the University of Montana, who beat Washington their first game, and they thought they were going to get off to just an undefeated season. And guess who stumbled?
Mm-hmm.
Their plans was Eastern Washington, and I've followed them a little bit since then.
Yeah, I was talking about this on Friday. When you look at the FCS conference standings right now, dude, the Big Sky is freaking loaded.
They are.
Montana State 9-1. Sacramento State, who came out of nowhere in my mind. I had no idea Sacramento State was even 8-2. Sacramento State, 8-2 Eastern Washington, 8-2 Montana, 8-2 UC Davis. That's
look. Montana State and Montana has been trying to get game day out this Saturday to Montana University. It's actually really funny if you look at their websites and social media. Both universities are trying to make it happen.
Mark, are you trying to tell me something? Is that you telling me that that has to be our FCS
100% has to be our FCS game. 100%.
I'll have to see.
I will quit.
I'll have to see what other games are on the docket for this weekend, Mark. I don't know. We'll have to see. Eastern Washington covered -3.5, under 65. Oh, and I forgot, Lan Larison for the Aggies, 97-yard kick return touchdown. And our guy Talolo Limu Jones on the score sheet. I technically didn't have to put him on, but I figured he was a yard off the team leading in yards for receiving yards. So I was like, I'll put him on anyways. Just because we love him from the spring.
I mean, he was pretty much identical stats to Robertson anyway.
All right. NFL, starting off with the worst game of the weekend. Steelers tying the Lions 16-16 in overtime.
There's one question I have about this game. I don't know if I want to ask you, Rusty, though, because you're kind of probably going to be biased towards the Steelers. So, Mark, do you think that Roethlisberger would have made a difference in this game?
I actually think this is one game that he would have made a difference. And the second thing, I think we've had one other tie since we've been doing this together. This is communism. You don't play this long and not have a winner, y'all. Stop it, NFL. Stop it.
Dude, there is no doubt. I have no doubt the Steelers would have won this game if Big Ben was playing. Absolutely none.
Yeah, no, but here's my thing. Before you get on your tangent, Chris asked me a question. I said, yes, it could have been the other way, though. It could have been that Roethlisberger turned it over more than Rudolph, and the Lions win this game.
No chance. Absolutely not. Nope.
But he would have made a difference 100%.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised, though, with how badly the Lions were playing outside of DeAndre Swift, that the Lions didn't put in Tim Boyle at some point. Or David Blau. I don't know if Boyle is still the backup or if Blau has superseded him.
Let's talk about what you just said. Pump the brakes, because I love you. And I love who you brought up. Because what did I say a few weeks ago that the Lions, to be successful, I 100% thought that the focal point of their offense should be DeAndre Swift. Now, are we excited about the 3.9 average?
Not at all.
But what they didn't do, which they have been normally good at, is running DeAndre Swift 13 to 18 times, but also letting him catch 8 to 10 times. So you let him carry it 33 times and only have 3 receptions. Hear me out here. You just tied the ball game 16 to 16. Why don't you let him carry it 25 to 28 times and catch it 4 to 9 times? You win the ball game. All right, we are all on a podcast. You can say I'm a couch coach or whatever, but how does that not translate to a win?
Yeah, this was just,
I don't know what to do with my hands after that.
the overtime. I was just shell-shocked in overtime. Is like, first off, they give the Lions a chance to win the game on the Deontay Johnson fumble. Lions kick. I have no idea how that guy even kicked the ball and how it dropped so quickly. Because it was like, it went up and it was like right down from 48 yards, a makeable distance in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then it's just, another heartbreaker. Freiermuth has the first down. They're going to be in field goal range for Boswell. And just a fumble. The thing is, if he is just, if he catches the ball one more yard toward the sideline, I think the ball goes out of bounds and it's still the Steelers' ball, which is, the game of inches. So, and again, the other thing was, Flowers, who recovered it for the Lions, if his butt is just an inch left, his butt's touching the sideline, illegal touching. Ball
Now,
still.
Was this not the most, reputable, it wasn't fun to watch. Regardless if you like this.
And again,
it was sloppy. I mean, it was like eating sloppy joes with not any good fries next to you.
And again, it brings a point, this is Mason Rudolph's 4th year with the Steelers. It's like he's not the guy. He
Nope.
is not the next guy.
He's had his chance before.
The issue with getting someone is that I've heard it from all of the drafts nicks that I follow. There is no one coming into this upcoming draft 2022 that would have been above any of the top 5 quarterbacks from this past year's draft. No one.
Well,
So-
I disagree.
So that is it's not a good draft to get a quarterback.
Here's the thing: is there's no science in the NFL draft. Otherwise, you would have Tom Brady's coming out the
Right.
wazoo. I'm telling you, 2 ACC quarterbacks that could play for better than Mason Rudolph in this game.
Yeah, but I'm saying that no one right now has any of the top quarterbacks coming into the 22 draft that would be ranked above any of the top 5 that how they were ranked last year. This past draft.
And who came out of this last year's draft? So you're telling me that you don't have a better one than Justin Fields? And the way he's playing?
I mean,
I'm just asking you a question. That's all I'm saying.
How do you have them ranked right now? Yeah. No, there's no one better than the 5th best quarterback, which was Mac Jones, I believe.
Which is dominating in his system. But you're telling me that Pickens doesn't look like Roethlisberger if you took him as a young Pittsburgh quarterback and put him
No, I was just gonna say
the science of the NFL
Shut up,
draft.
Mark!
It just makes me punch myself, though. That's all.
No, I do agree with Mark though. I think that some of these quarterbacks coming into this year's draft are better than somebody like Justin Fields or even Trey Lance, who I'm still not a believer in. But and we'll see about Zach Wilson. I'm still out on the jury's still out on him. But
I mean, a guy like March has mentioned too, Kenny Pickett. Funny enough, I did see one of the early mock drafts. He's staying in Pittsburgh, just moving up to the NFL.
I would love it.
And yeah, I think that would be a great fit for them.
I don't know.
I don't like the one thing I dislike about the NFL the most is the draft. I thought Tua was garbage. He comes in last week, wins a ball game. We'll talk about it. But is he really a good NFL quarterback? Look at the Dolphins' record. He still has an arm slot that I think is crap. It reminds me of Tim Tebow. But Tim Tebow's not in the NFL anymore. But he won a playoff game, right? What are all these projections? It's a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to give my opinion about the Steelers' next quarterback after the season when we get into draft prep. Because I have an opinion. That's true. And I'll foreshadow that it's a guy playing in Oxford. Mississippi right now.
I like the quarterbacks that are coming into this draft, whether it's SMU, Fresno State, Nevada, whatever.
My foreshadowing is that my guy for the Steelers in the draft is a guy that plays in Oxford, Mississippi right now.
Better put on some
That's
money.
all I'll say. Go look it up if you don't know who plays in Oxford, Mississippi. Defensively, I was, and very many people, I think the stadium went silent when number 90 went down. We'll talk about his injuries, but he did impact the game. Cameron Hayward has been a monster for the Steelers. I mean, people talk about TJ Watt, but Cameron Hayward he's the leader of the defense, and he shows it every week with his play too. That's my player. 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 2 QB hits to go with 5 tackles, 3 solos. Lions plus 5.5 covered under 41. Cowboys spanking the Falcons 43-3 This one was not close, early and often. And you know what was said? Grayson on Friday, he said, I'm a Georgia, I'm a Georgian through and through, so I gotta pick the Falcons.
This couldn't be.
He texted me later on Sunday yesterday. He's like, my Falcons pick. Ouch.
This is the night and day between the lock pick and the dog pick, because the Cowboys just said, last week, I'm sorry what happened, and we're just going to crush the Falcons. I mean, and I watched this, and when I knew it was over, at the time it was 3-0, I think, and they went through it, or 3-3, and it was 3-3, and they went for it on 4th and 5, and it was just an easy 3-step drop, and he found CD Lamb for the first down and then found CD Lamb for the touchdown. And I looked at my wife and said, this game's over. What would you like to watch? and she goes, how do you know it's over at 10-3? And I said, they looked at him and they just killed everything they had on 4th and 5. 4th and 5, and you went single coverage on CD Lamb. And I said, they have no clue what's going to happen the rest of the game. And she goes, no, that's not true. And I said, you went single coverage with all their one-on-one coverage and just blitzed on 4th and 5 instead of playing some type of zone or under coverage. And I said, they're going to I thought it was going to be 35-13, and it was 43-3.
Yeah, it was. Luckily we were on the Falcons last week, Mark. But yeah, I have a friend in my law school fantasy league. He started Matt Ryan and got him 0.3 points, I believe it was.
I don't care who you are, how long you've been. I mean, okay, nine completions.
What's crazy is it doesn't look like 9 out of 21 adds up to 43% though, right? Is that just me? Like, it does not look like that would work, but it does. 10
well, that's basketball numbers. I mean, that's still not a good shooting percentage, but if you have to bring it up the floor the entire game and someone's guarding you, like Russell Westbrook, right? Someone's guarding you 94 feet. Maybe I can see that, but you huddle your team. You walk your tushy up to the line. You go, hike. And sometimes you have screen passes. Sometimes you go long. You completed 9 of 21. That's terrible. And you have $100 million contract. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I was disappointed. Luckily, Zeke scored twice for the fantasy day. Got him to 20 points. I didn't even recall. I was on and off watching this game. I was focused on watching the crap that was the Steelers tie. But yeah, I didn't even notice when Zeke threw the ball. I mean, it was only for 4 yards, so I guess it wasn't that noticeable anyway. So
I didn't see Zeke throw the ball. I will say Kyle Pitts is starting to get a groove. And people say, well, not where he was slotted. Well, you have to remember his quarterback only made 9 completions. 4 of those were to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and Wayne Gallman, I think, still has a place in the NFL.
Yeah, Patterson got banged up in this game. That's why Gallman had a lot of touches. Yeah, Lamb had a great day, 6 for 94 and 2 touchdowns.
Did he not play well for you guys at the Giants?
No.
At least in the goal line situations, he played really well for you guys last year.
Yeah, I'm going with Dorrance Armstrong on defense. What a weekend for Dorrance, man. He got his alma mater beat Texas.
Yes. That was not on our game.
Kansas beat Texas, and then he gets to rail the Falcons at home. 3 tackles, 3 stalls, sack, tackle loss, 3 QB hits. Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, both great days as well. I know Chris likes the pass deflections. And rookie Nashawn Wright. You know where Nashawn Wright's from, Mark?
Why does that name sound familiar?
He was a Beaver.
Ah,
Oregon State Beaver. 0-yard blocked punt return for a touchdown.
Corvallis, baby.
Cowboys covered -7.5 under 55. They couldn't get any help from the Falcons. Titans 23-21 win. They had the longest win streak in the NFL at 6 right now.
So our friend Chris gets 1-1 off this, right?
The Saints had to do it twice. The Saints almost did it 2 weeks in a row. They just can't complete a comeback right now.
I was watching this game and they gave me false hope there at the end. That 2-point conversion attempt was terrible. But yeah, they did what I expected them to do, though. I expected them to be in this game, and they were obviously only losing by 2, as Mark kind of alluded to. I had them as my dog, and they did cover at least, so I get 1 point there. And I mean, obviously, the absence of Alvin Kamara was big here.
Huge.
Although Ingram didn't do too bad, but obviously, yeah, Kamara is still one of the best running backs in the league. So missing somebody like him is a big deal. Obviously, on the other side of the ball, there's also one of the best running backs missing as well. But the Titans seem to not care about that.
I think they're going in 2 different directions, in my opinion, because of the divisions that they play in. I think the Titans play in an easier division.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to spend 2 seconds talking to them so we don't spend too much time. Before Derrick Henry's injury, I really was going to pick the Titans as a Super Bowl pick. And I'll tell you why. I think sometimes you have to win ball games in, what's a good word, an odd way, or maybe a non-profound way, where people say you're going to go in, you're going to dominate someone, you're going to walk out, and you're the best team. I keep seeing the Titans win games by 2 or win games on the road against the Seahawks that you're like, how did this happen? And to me, it builds character as a coach. But you need that Derrick Henry to win the Super Bowl. And I thought they were a dark horse as we made because we're going to make our midseason picks compared to our first. I don't think they're going to win it without Derrick Henry, but to me, this still is an identity win. You win by 2 against a well-coached Sean Payton's team.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, it makes him look good too, right? Alvin Kamara is out. You use Melvin Ingram. Trevor Siemian hasn't started a game in years, and you're still competing against a really good football team.
Mm-hmm.
But there's to me, the Titans are head and shoulders above the Colts right now, the Texans, the Jaguars in that division.
Yeah. Mark, you just reminded me. I didn't even think about putting those on. The midseason, we're past midseason now. We're game past it.
Well, 1 game. We're right there. We're right there.
We'll do it. We'll do it on the Friday show.
Possibly. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
But yeah, I've been disappointed.
Chiefs might make you think different.
I've been disappointed with the Titans that they haven't given AP the share that I thought he was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you pick him up on fantasy?
In a couple leagues, yeah. I started.
Yeah, that would make you pissed.
But I mean, I don't care if he's 36, man. I think he could still handle 30 carries per game if he needed to. But they're giving Deontay Foreman a chance right now. So, great though for Mark Ingram. No Kamara in this game. Ingram, decent day, but I think the biggest thing, I think you know what it was too, Chris.
Yeah, he became the Saints' all-time rusher.
Yes. Only needed 20 yards. Got 47. So
Well,
Ingram.
what's big for me too is guess whose name's not on here that would help if Derrick Henry's out. Julio Jones. Julio Jones.
Julio's on IR,
Which that takes back to I think the Titans are a really good team because they keep finding ways to win without those guys.
Mm-hmm.
That goes a long ways when you can get them back.
It's fine. They'll lose in the playoffs. I'm not worried about it.
Mike Vrabel's a good coach, man.
I
Yeah,
would love to
100
see the Titans win the Super Bowl just
Weird,
because the Jets beat them.
weird 100-yard day for Marcus Johnson. AJ Brown was not a factor at all, but good for Marcus Johnson. 5 for 100 yards. Former Seahawk, Eagle, Colt.
Stone hands. Colt, Eagle, stone hands.
All right, yeah, Jeffrey Simmons. He's putting together a string of games, man.
Mm.
Annihilated the Rams offensive line last week, killing the Saints offensive line this week. Yeah, 4 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, pass looks, and 2 QB hits. Freaking Saints covered +3. I was so mad about that. I had a -3 all day. All day they were covering.
Mm-hmm.
Over 43. I'm sure the over bettors were happy that the Saints.
I'm tired of this 1-1 record for dogs. That's communism too.
By one the over hits here.
Mm-hmm.
This was the one that I was thinking of when I mentioned in the Nevada game. Bettors on both sides, -3, +3, and over under 43. They were going through it. The under bettors and the -3 bettors had a lot to cry about.
Mm-hmm.
And Colts 23-17 win over the Jags. Again, the Colts were freaking covering all day, weren't they? And they were one of my best bets, -10.5.
Didn't happen.
I have no idea what happened in this game because I thought I was on track I thought they were on track to do what I said they were going to do. On Friday, I said that this game I thought was going to be a lot like the Jets game on Thursday night, and they were just going to destroy the Jags. It was in Indianapolis. They had Jonathan Taylor running the ball. Carson Wentz just played like crap. They didn't throw downfield often or at all. He had 7 freaking fantasy points, I think it was. It was ridiculous.
I know they're completely different teams than they were last year, but they are still division opponents and all that, and they are the only team that the Jaguars beat last year. So I wasn't so sure about this game either. I thought that the Colts were going to win, but I didn't like the 10.5 spread or line.
Yeah, I just thought they were going to rail them. And
I have to agree with Chris. Just division foes and the way Carson Wentz has ended games was I knew the Colts were going to win, but I didn't like the point differential. And I think the Jaguars, for some odd reason, hear me out, after that whole debacle with Urban Meyer at his restaurant, they've actually strengthened, or I can't say strengthened as a team. They've gotten better after that on the field.
Mark, you want to make the case that Jags are 3 games out of the playoffs right now?
I can't. No. It'd be the same. I don't know. I would find Roger Goodell, who's made 240, if you guys hadn't seen it, $243 million in the last 4 years, which is astronomical. I would find him and punch him in his nuts.
What would you do if the Jags made the playoffs at 8-9?
Very possible in the AFC. So
no, it is.
Weird. Jamal Agnew was the leading rusher because he had a 66-yard rushing touchdown. No catches on 5 targets though. Saved his fantasy day anyways. That touchdown did. Michael Pittman, quiet day-ish, still was over double-digit fantasy points, 12.1 in PPR.
Is
Mhm.
anyone willing to go on the branch and say why the Jaguars didn't win this game?
Because Trevor Lawrence sucks.
Oh, he said it. He said it. And I'm not shying away from it. I still
Under
think
50% completion is not you can't.
I
have
still
that.
think he has a long ways to go. I'm not saying he's a bust, but he has a long, and so does Zach Wilson and Trey
Oh.
Lance. But everybody anointed him that good at Clemson, right? He's that good.
Well, the
Well,
Jags
he
can fix
still
their offensive
has a
line.
learning curve. He still has a learning curve.
Mhm.
They have to fix the offensive line first. I think their defense is playing lights out right now, but they can't score enough on offense. Dan Arnold, though, my boy Dan Arnold has gone to the Jags, early season trade from the Panthers. He's living it up. I have him in my this league that is ridiculous that I'm doing very poorly in. It's 20 team, 5 flex, 1 super flex. It's stupid format. There's like you get points for first downs. You lose points for a quarterback if you get sacked. I think you lose like hundreds of a point for a quarterback if you have an incompletion, something like that. It's dumb. It's stupid. But Dan Arnold's putting up points for me in that league, anyways. And I have him on my bench in our dynasty.
And I'm pretty sure Cam Newton would like him back.
Defensively, though, Taylor Stallworth. I mentioned him a couple weeks ago for the Colts. He got hurt in one of our games that we had on here, but has came back. And dude, he has been quite a find. 4 tackles, 4 solos, sack, tack floss, 3 QB hits for the Colts defense.
Yeah.
And EJ Speed there also early on in the game, 12-yard blocks, punt returned for a touchdown. I just want to see, make sure I don't recall where Taylor Stallworth.
Jonathan Taylor wins the running back yardage this year.
Yeah, former Saint Chris Taylor Stallworth is
Oh yeah.
undrafted in 2018.
Mhm.
Yeah, 3rd season from South Carolina. Yeah. Jags plus 10.5 covered, under 48. And yes, Mark, I'm praying Jonathan Taylor. I have him leading the league in rushing and rushing touchdowns. Let's get it done. Freaking Connor needs to stop scoring for the Cardinals. Patriots whooping the Browns 45-7. Holy crap. Mark, why were we on the Browns again? Plus 2.5 for our dog.
This kept me up late at night, and I lost many of hours of sleep because look back at your text messages. I said, I'm picking the Eagles to beat the Broncos, but my first pick is the Browns. And who are you picking? And you're like, I'm going with the Browns too. And I was like, I knew that's a good pick. Sometimes you have to go with your intuition because the Eagles just dismantled the Broncos. And I didn't go with my gut. So go with your gut. And all I have to say about this game, I'm not bringing up any stats or coaching or anything because he only threw 23 times. Is the Browns are the most, it's like Russian roulette. Throw a dice out. What are you going to get? You're going to play really good one week. You're going to be really crappy one week. I'm tired of the Browns.
Yeah, I said it on Friday. I was like, dang it, we're all picking the Browns. That means Patriots are going to win.
Oh yeah.
I pulled one out of Mark's playbook. He always says that. But yeah, I think the craziest stat on this sheet is that Brian Hoyer and Case Keenum both threw for more yards than Baker Mayfield did, playing only like a half a quarter.
Yep. Well,
I don't know how long I don't know how long Keenum played, but Hoyer I know only played that one drive or whatever, or two.
That's the whole conundrum. That's the thing that is. I love his commercials. I
was pissed off. I didn't start Ramondre Stevenson in my fraternity league. Scored 27 on the bench, which was great times. Love to see that. Weird though, the Browns had Dearness Johnson run for almost 100 yards, and they weren't able to throw the ball, but they were able to run the ball. I don't know why they weren't able to throw it though. So, but yeah, Mac Jones is now is easily the second best odds for offensive rookie of the year behind Jamar Chase. Somehow Jamar Chase is still in it. It's weird because they were on a bye this week, so we didn't hear anything from him.
Mhm.
I'm still putting it out there. There's a guy in Pittsburgh that wears 22. I still think he has a chance.
They don't utilize him enough in Pittsburgh, but
What do you mean? He gets like 25 touches a game.
I don't know. I guess he just doesn't do enough with those touches because you don't really hear enough about him. But
If they win the division, come on.
well, if they win the division, but if they play like they did against the Lions, it's not happening.
You know what? They're going to win the division by a half a game because that.
No, but you were saying how the Browns couldn't really throw the ball, but that brings up a kind of an interesting point for me. Obviously, Odell Beckham wasn't really that great with the Browns, but could his presence actually have made a difference anyway, even if they didn't really throw to him or anything? Because teams would then still have to look towards him and look for him on the field.
No, because they had a better record without him on the field than they did with him in his time in Cleveland. Baker knows how to win without him. It's just, and the more annoying thing I think was that the Browns were up 7-0 in this game.
Well, I sent you guys an article that said when OBJ was not on the field, the Browns were a better team.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that Mayfield and OBJ were like best friends off the field, so much that Mayfield pressed to throw it to him in double coverage and tight windows when he didn't need to.
Another annoying bench player for the Patriots on one of my fantasy teams this weekend, Hunter Henry, 2 touchdowns. I need to start playing him. I played Cole Beasley over him, thinking that Beasley playing the Jets would be a good jump.
Yeah, I had Cole Beasley playing in our Dynasty League too, and he got me nothing.
3.5 points. The defensively here, Dietrich Wise, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 2 QB hits. And again, Matthew Judon continues to be, I don't know. I can't think of all of the free agent signings off the top of my head right now, but I would have to think that at the very worst, Judon is in the top 5 of the 2021 free agent signings. Patriots -2.5 covered, over 45. Thank you, Browns, for scoring. Bills also scoring 45 points. Rail in the Jets, 45-17 at MetLife Stadium. Josh Allen, very good rebound day. And Mike White, it was so funny. You know why, Chris? Because before the game, I got a Twitter notification from Ian Rappaport that said, if Mike White plays well, he could continue to start as they let Zach Wilson develop on the bench. What does he do? He goes out there, 4 picks.
Yeah, I mean,
Flacco looked good. Look at that.
Yeah, he had the one drive but it was a garbage time drive, but still. No, it's sad to say though that there was so many blowouts in the league this week that this was probably maybe the 3rd worst game of the week behind the Patriots and Browns and the Falcons and Cowboys. This was probably better than those 2 games. But I mean, I do still think that Zach Wilson probably should sit maybe for the rest of the year. Not saying that what Mike White should start either. I think having a guy like Flacco play would actually be beneficial for somebody like Zach Wilson to see a veteran in there playing every day. But I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, the Jets season is over. Even if they were to win out, which that's not happening, but win out 10-7, I guess would be a playoff spot possibly, but that's not happening with the way that this Jets team is. But yeah, the Jets defense is just horrible. This is I saw a stat. I think it was on Twitter or wherever, but the Jets in this 4-game span have let up like 160 something points, which is the second most since the NFL AFL merger back in 1960. Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
it's the second most
three
behind
out of-
the Titans that happened in 2004 or something like that, I think. But
yeah,
yeah,
it was like
Jets
giving
defense is
up.
terrible.
Yeah, it was like they gave up like 45 or more points in 3 out of 4 games.
Uh-huh.
In like 60 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is very weird to me, being that the Jets head coach is a defensive coach.
Carter,
But I do get like that they have so many injuries and they are a young team, but still, they shouldn't be this bad.
Yeah, Carter annoyed me. He scored like 12 or something like that. I don't know. He was on my bench as well.
I had him starting.
Well, I had a decision, and it was Michael Carter, Melvin Gordon.
I had a decision too. I put him in over Antonio Gibson.
I did. I benched Gibson too. Stephon Diggs, maybe Matt. I was playing against him in my law school league. He's the only reason why it's close tonight, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Gabriel Davis had a 100-yard day as well. Corey Davis almost 100 yards. Elijah Moore scoring a touchdown again.
Yeah, both of them on my bench and I started Beasley over them. So.
And defensively, I am going with F.A. Obata, former Panther, 2 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, QB hit. And you know what? You know why I don't know if you saw me fist bump there while you were talking, Chris. Because I got a notification. I got a notification from Jim Nagy on Twitter because they're announcing Senior Bowl invites sporadically, and they just announced Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi.
He will be at Mobile playing in the Senior Bowl this
Mobile is a fun time.
January, and I think we're gonna have Mark there if we can get him a media credential. Possibly.
We'll find a way. We will find a way.
I can't swing that. That's during school, so I can't get down there. But Chris, you're welcome to go down with Mark. I can apply for 2 credentials if you want.
Let's talk about this game.
Bring the fam. Take the fam down to Mobile, Chris. Have a nice vacation. I know Mark's gonna take his fam down there.
Meet our kids.
Mobile's a great place. It really is.
A lot of history.
But yeah, the Bills covered minus 13.5 over 49. And I was mad because that's the one that I was deciding between. It was the Colts minus 10.5 or the Bills minus 13.5. And I was like, I like the Colts over the Jags better. Mike White got me. He got me on the reverse jinx. Over 49 in the Jets game.
Let's talk about this
Washington upsetting Bucks 29-19 in DC, or I should say in Landover. Yeah. Washington got their revenge from a wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks coming off a bye did not look like Bucks coming off a bye. Tom Brady struggled.
Yeah, this game frustrated me because I'm pretty sure I picked them as my lock. And
You sure did.
yeah, that's what I thought. And this, I should have known better though, because yes, the Buccaneers won that game in the playoffs last year, but it wasn't a pretty win. And I had a feeling that Washington was out for revenge, but I still went with the Buccaneers because I thought that the Buccaneers, like you said, coming off a bye and all that, I thought they were in prime position.
I can't make fun of you besides, yeah, you sure did was your lock because my dog was so bad. When I was picking this game, I'm telling you guys, if I can give you any advice or anyone that's watching this show, trust your intuition or your gut feeling. I said, Ron Rivera has always game planned really well against Tom Brady or just certain people, certain, franchises. And I was like, nope, they're coming off a bye, just like you said. And we know all their weapons. And this wasn't even close. Even though it says 29-19, which isn't a necessarily close game, but it's not a big, it was 20-3 or 17-3 at one point. Like, I looked at the score and was like, oh my gosh, the Washington football team's going to win this game. It was the second quarter, and I thought that.
Yeah, it was 13-0 early, Washington. Yeah, Antonio Gibson, like Chris mentioned earlier, was on my bench. 21 points or something like that. Great times. And his 21 probably would have allowed me to win the game tonight with Cooper Kupp. Won't be the case. I'm down like 60 points. But defensively, I mean, what a day in a losing effort. Devin White, monster numbers. 18 tackles, 13 of them solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. I mean, good Lord. Washington +10 covered under 51 by 3. Panthers, baby. Mark, we went against them. We went against them, and they
but we didn't know that Kyler Murray was going to be out at the time. I don't know that he would have made up for 24 points, but it would have been a different game.
I think I knew that they were questionable on Friday.
But I thought at least I knew DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion, wasn't going to play, but I thought Kyler would play.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but
I didn't know that we were going to have Cam Newton signed in the middle of the week. Let's talk about that. He's back. Keep pounding, baby.
Okay, so Cam scores on his first 2 plays. He ran one in from 2 yards. He threw a 2-yard touchdown to Robbie Anderson, who actually had a stat line for once. For the first time this year, he finally catches a good amount of his targets, and he scores.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't start him, which
it's
is fine.
the Sam Darnold effect.
Well, I mean, he's still, that's still 13 points. It's decent, but Cam was the biggest story, obviously, but also I will have to say, PJ Walker. I apologize, PJ, because I kind of trashed you. Now, 167 yards on 22 completions is not good. But he played a lot better than I expected. He did turn it over twice, but so did Colt McCoy. So that's fine. That evens out. And Christian McCaffrey was Christian McCaffrey. 23 total touches. He had 161 yards. The Cardinals as a team had a total of 165, I believe. 169. I knew that was the number. That was my first thing I was going to say, but then I went to 165. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, 161 total yards. The Cardinals as a team, 169. The Panthers defense was outstanding. And like I said, James Conner, stop scoring rushing touchdown. You can catch as many touchdowns as you want, James. Just stop running it in. No. Because I need freaking Jonathan Taylor to win the rushing touchdown title. And I don't know where it's at right now. But I can check. Anyways. Yeah, CMC was great. Kirk had a nice day for the Cardinals in a losing effort. I was happy with him in fantasy this week, knowing that AJ Green was first game back off of the COVID list and Hopkins wasn't playing. Defensively, though, like I said, I mean, revenge game for a lot of guys on the Panthers. Hassan Reddick, Zane Gonzalez, the kicker.
Connor has 11 and Taylor has 9 on the year right now.
God dang it.
But Taylor's running away with the yards, though.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it. Derrick Henry's still in second. 10 touchdowns. All right. So at least he's keeping it close. No one else is close. Everyone else got 7 or 6 or 5. So that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Because Jonathan Taylor, it was weird that Taylor exactly tied Derrick Henry's yards right now. 937. Yeah, I agree. 200
on way less attempts, too. He's got like 50 less attempts than Henry.
Yeah, 216 more yards than Nick Chubb right now. And Nick Chubb's only played 3 games. 3 games less. So that's something that's crazy, though. I mean, 216 yards, I guess, would equal out to a little bit less than 3 games, I would think, for Nick Chubb. But yeah. Shaq Thompson, though, great game. 6 tackles, 4 solos, sack, tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, 2 QB hits. And like I said, Reddick was a monster all day. Panthers defense overall, great. Panthers +7 over 42. And yeah, I was very happy because now with the Bucks losing, the Panthers are now 2.5 games back. Only a half game back to the Saints, Chris. We're coming.
Well, currently all 3 teams are in the playoffs. The Panthers are the 7th seed, I think. The Saints are the 6th, and the Bucks are the 4 seed. So
that's what was big too. There was a lot of teams in the hunt for the NFC that won. You had the Vikings win, the Eagles won, Washington. I don't know. I guess those were the only ones in the NFC that really won that are in the hunt. But yeah, let's get to my lone wolf here. I told y'all that the Vikings were going to win. I had a hunch, and like Mark said, you go with your hunch. So 27-20 in LA at SoFi against the Chargers. Kirk Cousins, man, got it done. He helped out by Dalvin Cook, almost
Shut
100
your
yards.
face. Move on to the next game.
Dude, Kirk. Why isn't Kirk Cousins in the MVP? Come on. Why not?
Look, I know the Vikings record is not sexy. Is that a good word to say, or am I going to get in trouble? They are the best 4 and 5 team in the NFL by far.
That's what I said on Friday. I said they're the best 3 and 5 team.
And I wouldn't want to play them. I wouldn't want to play them if I'm Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't want to play them if I'm Tom Brady or they are always in that discussion. And if they can get their secondary right, in my opinion, they've traded some people away. They got Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals this year, whether they played good or on the IR or whatnot. Mike has been a good coach, and Kirk Cousins does enough to win every game. And you have a all-pro running back in Dalvin Cook, and you have Adam Thielen, and you have all these people. So what is the key to making this team better, it's got to be the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion.
Look, Kirk Cousins is currently 9th in passing yards, 8th in passing touchdowns, and for quarterbacks that have played the entire year so far, he has the least interceptions. He only has 2, 18-2 touchdown interception ratio. I'm just saying, man, if the Vikings were 7-3, I think Kirk Cousins would be in the MVP hunt. But then people will be like, well, he's got Dalvin Cook. Yeah. Kirk playing well right now, despite 4-5. And really, you think about it, they probably should be 7-3, considering some of the close losses they had against the Bengals, against the Cardinals, and whatnot. So Justin Jefferson, 9 for 143 on 11 targets. I was disappointed my first week of having Adam Thielen after I traded for him and Miles Sanders, Hunter Renfrow and Javonte Williams. I traded them for Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders. You know, it is what it is. I think Thielen will be fine. He broke his streak of 3 straight games with a touchdown. So 7 touchdowns on the year. I think he'll score more. Probably.
Wait, I just looked over the remaining schedule just because I was curious. And realistically, I see them going 5-3 the rest of the way, which would get them at 9-8, possibly a playoff spot.
And that's the tough part. That's where they've kind of fell the last few years. But I look at them as a better team than the Lions, obviously, and the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
5 of the remaining 8 are division games. So
yeah, but I believe the Vikings have one of the easiest remaining schedules that there is. Because they play the Bears twice. They play the Bears twice. They play the Lions, the Niners. But then they also got to play the Packers twice, the Steelers, and the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And is Justin Jefferson just not a beast? Can I say that right now?
He has the second. He has the second most receiving yards in a receiver's first 25 games, just behind Odell.
And okay, I said that, right? I just said that statement, and no one can disagree. If Stephon Diggs is here, does the same thing happen? And you're talking about him being the top receiver behind DeAndre Hopkins or
Tyreek.
I mean, did he step into a created role, or is he that good? Do we even know? Can we know? We might not. But him and Stephon have done good both ways.
All right. Keenan Allen, almost 100 yards on 11 targets. I was pissed off. Tyler Conklin scored twice. Like I said, Adam Thielen was on a 3-game touchdown streak. I was pissed off because he didn't get a target in the red zone. And defensively, I'm going with Eric Kendricks, who had a better game. 8 tackles, 7 of them solo, sack, tackle for loss, pass selection, pick, and a QB hit.
Let's talk about the Eagles, baby.
Vikings +3, under 54. Yeah, dude, literally the Browns were the only underdog I didn't get right this week.
We should have picked. I should have picked. You should have picked. I sent it to you. I said, I have a good feeling about the Eagles. For some reason, we stuck with the Browns. They beat the Broncos.
Chris lone wolf the Broncos. Good job, Chris. Love to see that. Yes.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't know. They the Broncos just, I guess, because of their game last week, they gave me false confidence.
Dude, the Eagles have found it. They've found the formula to unlock Jalen Hurts. It is running the ball, with Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, and throw it sparingly with Jalen Hurts, not more than 20. I think if they don't throw it more than 25 times per game, I think they will keep winning because their offensive line is having a lot of fun running the ball. And we've seen it before with Philadelphia and bigger backs when they had LeGarrette Blount on the Super Bowl team. Jordan Howard had been here last year in Philadelphia, and he continues, everyone thought it was just going to be, okay, we're going to Boston Scott. He's the backup to Miles Sanders. Or also there was a faction of people that were like, well, we're just going to go to the rookie. Kenneth Gainwell's going to get a boatload of touches. And then Jordan Howard's like, bruh, what about me? I'm on the practice squad. I can give you the tough yards that you want. And dude, I mean, he's looking like his Chicago days right now, Jordan Howard is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like, what I'm seeing from Philadelphia. For me, from an outsider, I know that you follow them and you're a diehard fan. I love that. What I'm seeing from an outsider's view, like someone that's on a podcast and following them from week to week and lining the analytical stuff up, is guess who your head coach is finally listening to, in my opinion, who I reiterated should have coaching opportunities, whether it's the NFL or Penn State. I think you're laying the groundwork when you come in as a coach, and you're setting the tone and you're communicating with people, but then you're learning your personnel and you're going, okay, it worked in week 1 and we did some things that I want to do, and it hasn't worked the last few weeks. And you start to look for your right-hand man. And guess who his right-hand man is? That's Deuce Staley. And you're starting to see things that were
the Eagles. He doesn't coach for the Eagles anymore, Mark.
What?
Where
is he?
He's the associate head coach, running backs coach for the Lions.
Wow, he's stealing things that I took a game clip of what they did in the playoffs and what they're doing in the last few weeks. So he's stealing from them. That's fine, in my opinion.
Shane Steichen is the offensive coordinator.
Well, your head coach is. You're starting to see what the first few weeks your head coach was just, in my opinion, a dictatorship, and it worked 1 week, didn't work.
I think they are doing stuff. What kind of a combination of what you used to see from the Chargers and what Sirianni came from, the Frank Reich offense in Indianapolis, where they were running the ball back a couple of years ago with Marlon Mack,
right,
Moore, and company, and I mentioned the Chargers with Shane Steichen because he's coming from when they used to run the ball a lot with Melvin Gordon.
Which Carson Wentz would be a really good key into this. But Jalen Hurts is doing a good job. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl ever, though.
Jalen Hurts is playing the best football of his career in only his second year right now. And what a birthday for Devontae. He turned 23 yesterday. And I mean, what more can you have right there? 4 for 66, 2 touchdowns, all 6 targets. Great game for him. And he made a spectacular jumping catch into the end zone on his second touchdown.
That was nice.
And really, Jalen Hurts should have 3 touchdowns because Quez Watkins dropped one that Jalen Hurts put a dime, dropped it right to him on a go route, and Quez Watkins dropped it in the end zone.
And Darius Slay is a beast.
Dude, I mean, everyone thought he was a free agent bust last season, was injured. And this season, he is what we paid him for. I mean,
I wanted the Rams to get him.
83-yard fumble return for a touchdown. So,
but the only reason he scored that touchdown though is because none of the Broncos actually tried to tackle him. They thought the play was over.
That's still being talked about today.
Teddy Bridgewater.
That is still being talked about right now on social media.
Yeah, I think that Teddy Bridgewater non-tackle was similar to Phillip Rivers last year when he fell down against the Ravens. That was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, the Eagles was the pick'em, so they got the win, and under 45 by 2. Packers shutting out the Seahawks for the first time in Russell Wilson's career. And what is weird is that it was his 150th career game, and he got 0 points. 17-0 in snowy Green Bay. It didn't snow here, though, as far as I know. I didn't see it snow, at least. 45 minutes south of Green Bay. So
I'm not going to talk much. This was as boring as the Lions-Steelers, in my opinion, if you watched it.
3-0 at halftime.
But Aaron Jones being out the last few weeks, I will give props to A.J. Dillon. I think he served his purpose in this game. Even though it's not gaudy numbers, he did just enough.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really blame Wilson for this game, though, because he is just coming back from an injury in his hand. So that's obviously an important part of the body for a quarterback.
100%.
So who knows if he was actually 100%. He might have still been feeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Packers, though, despite their injuries, like you already mentioned, Aaron Jones, Rodgers coming back from the COVID situation last week. And, yeah, the Packers looked pretty good on defense, though, which I think is the biggest takeaway from this whole thing, because everybody talks about the Packers offense, but the Packers defense was really the key to this game.
Dude, if you look at it, since their blowout loss to the Saints week 1, giving up 38 points, they haven't allowed above 28 in any game.
Mm-hmm.
And the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 5 games, they haven't allowed over 21 points. Defense is coming up massive right now. And holy heck. Woo! That is exactly why I did not bet on that game tonight. I just got a halftime update. Guess who is beating number 10 Illinois right now in college basketball? It is the Marquette Golden Eagles, baby. 28-27 at halftime. Let's go.
That is a terrible halftime score for a men's game. But
yeah, I was thinking that.
Coffee Cockburn is out for the first 4 games of Illinois' season. 7-footer that will be a top 5 draft pick.
Bring on the upset.
27 at half. That is.
I wish I would have.
That's about like watching the Lions and Steelers.
Dude, I wish I would have went now. I sold my ticket for $20, but
no, but getting back to this game, the other thing I just wanted to point out, because I was laughing when it happened, but the Jamal Adams interception was like, he was acting like it was the greatest thing in the world. Like, congrats, you got your 3rd career interception. Like, and it was a garbage time interception. Didn't even really matter anyway.
Well, it was off a future Hall of Famer, so I'd keep that ball.
You didn't like Metcalf slapping around a helmet, because it's going to do a lot when a helmet's on your face.
That too, yeah.
Got ejected.
Gosh, guys, stop punching each other with your helmets on.
No, but yeah, even with Russ coming back in his first game, fully healthy or not, he was not making good decisions at all. There was a lot of open receivers, and he just took deep shots instead. Turned into 2 interceptions. He threw a red zone interception. So did Rodgers. But
not to prolong this, but think about it. When you come back and you're an MVP type caliber each season, and you're 3-6, do you think the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs? And what he's thinking is, I've got to make home run throws. I've got to get us into the playoffs. That is not necessarily what I'm getting at, but do you think the Seahawks make the playoffs with the Rams in Arizona as good as they are?
I hope so. I have I think I have them in the playoffs in a bet.
You do have them in the playoffs.
Or something like that in a bet.
I have one side of the division and the other side of the division in the playoffs.
I know I have a bet that has the Rams finishing first and the Seahawks finishing second in the NFC West. That I do know I have a bet on. So
there's a lot of football. There's a lot of football left.
I'm praying that the Cardinals start sucking and Kyler Murray just doesn't come back. That's what I'm hoping for, and Russ is second half MVP, because Russell Wilson is never going to win the MVP. I will say that he will never win the MVP.
He's the next Drew Brees.
Yep. One Super Bowl early in his career.
I know. I hate that.
He's had in 09.
If they come back and get second place, he deserves the MVP.
But your Rams got to help me. Your Rams got to help me and win the division.
over Matthew Stafford or anybody else. We're talking them in week 9 at 3-6. If they become the second place team, that Russell, well, I'll send them a paycheck of my own paycheck.
I think in order for them to finish second, they have to win out. 11-6. It's
have to.
Mm-hmm.
looking at their schedule. That's tough.
Daunting.
They don't have a
That's
bad
daunting.
schedule. They don't have a bad schedule. I'll tell you that. I mean, other than the division games, it's Washington, who is beatable. The Texans, we know they're going to win that one.
Depends on where they go though for the Washington game.
The Bears and the Lions, all 4 winnable games. Then they have 4 division games: 2 against the Cardinals, 1 against the Niners, and 1 against the Rams.
Well, that's the hard part right there.
They got to go 4-0 in the division down the stretch.
They can go 3-1. They can go 3-1. Market 3-1.
And get the second place at 10-7.
No, I'm just saying they can go 3-1 in the division.
I think they'll go 4-0 in the non-division games for sure.
But I'm saying in the division, I see the Seahawks going 3-1.
I think even if they go 2-2, they'll make the playoffs, but they won't finish second because the Cardinals aren't going to lose
Right.
6 games down the stretch.
But you made fun of me for picking the Steelers division with having how many people in the playoffs and having how many people in my division, which I think they all
Didn't you put all 4? Didn't you put all 4?
No, I did not get the 49ers in there. I do not. And I don't think – and the 49ers aren't going to get in there.
Good Lord, y'all. We're going long tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah, Packers covered -3 under 49, and I'm going with Chris's guy, Jamal Adams, for defensive player of the game. 11 tackles, 7 solos, pass flexion, 2 QB hits, and a pick. Under 49. Sunday Night Football. Chiefs are back, right? Chiefs 41-14, and they are in first place in the AFC West.
I don't buy it.
Who
No, Chris, don't say that. Were you really ever worried about the Chiefs?
A little bit.
No.
Even in my preseason picks, I had the Chargers winning the division.
And they are garbage right now.
When the Chiefs barely beat the Giants, that's when I was a little skeptical about them. But
I will say this.
After tonight, I have to see what the odds are for Chiefs Super Bowl. I might have to put that in.
I did what I liked about the Chargers, and I picked them as a wild card is, Derwin James, Bosa. I think your quarterback takes a leap. But NFL season is so wiry. You didn't know John Gruden was going to happen. I don't even want to go with what happened with Henry Ruggs, because to me that's just, it breaks my heart, because that changes not only his life, his family's life, but the Chiefs were going to figure this out one way or the other inside their division. Does that make sense? They're going to score enough points to beat their division foes. Does that translate to the playoffs? I do not think it makes them a Super Bowl contender, which would go back to, Rusty's Bills pick, because their defense, I think, is way better. And the reason I picked the Chiefs, and we all did, you have to agree with me because I know you picked the Chiefs, is Travis Kelce owns, I don't want to say any cuss words, the MF Raiders. He owns them. He has the most receptions in the last 5 years against any one team. He came into this game at 724 yards in the past 3 seasons. And the dude just added 119.
He owns the Raiders. Yep, this is true. 8 for 119 here. I was annoyed that he didn't get in touchdown. They threw it to freaking Noah Gray 3 times in the red zone. I was like, are you kidding? And the touchdown that Noah Gray scored, Kelce was coming across the opposite way and would have caught it if it wasn't going to Noah Gray. I was like, rookie, get out of the way. Let the veteran catch the football in the end zone. I needed the points. Fantasy. Tyreek scored twice. Darrell Williams was over 100 yards receiving, had a long touchdown catch that really saved the interception for Patrick Mahomes. And Pat even said that at the end. He said, yeah, Darrell probably saved me an interception because it looked like Jonathan Abram was going to pick that off. But
100%.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes becomes the third quarterback in NFL history to have 3 games of 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Ridiculous.
I will say this.
Rick Bisaccia, I think he's doing a great job in Vegas, though.
Record. The one thing, I think the first 2 quarters for me kind of dictated how this game was going to go. It got out of hand after midway through second quarter. I hadn't seen Patrick Mahomes take what the defense gave him. And I've talked about this the past few weeks. He's trying to make throws that are tight windows. He's trying to go down the field. Well, he looked at the running back Williams. He dumped it off here. He looked at Travis Kelce 5 yards to 8 yards instead of just 12 to 16 yards. The second thing is, man, as an intern coach, I think the Raiders coach is doing a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs covered -2.5, over 54 hit by 1. Renfro scored again. I traded him away a little bit, but I don't know. Defensively, Jaron Reed's the only one that has special stats. Sack, tackle, loss, 2 QB hits, but you can go with the tackles if you want. Denzel Perryman, Jonathan Abram. Okay, NCAA news. Got 2 firings, 2 coaches, two more spots opened up in college football. One is Washington. They have fired head coach Jimmy Lake. He gets a $9.9 million buyout over three years.
And I don't think they're going to have to I don't think they're going to have to pay him.
Why?
If you look at what I've read in the last 48 hours, is he had an altercation on the sideline with a player, but players are coming out and saying he got abusive in practice. I think they can get away from that, which is why they fired him, in my opinion. And you're going to hear about saving that money later.
Also out controversially is Florida International's Butch Davis.
Butch Davis, yeah.
He is done at FIU. Also having his altercation was with the athletic department, bashing them.
Going in the wrong direction or something.
Well, yeah, he said that they're not invested in getting them up and winning, So, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily something you should say if you want to keep your job. Like, just look for other jobs. Like, you don't have to, I don't know. All right, NFL news. Starting off with Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. He's going to get the starter reps this week, possibly make his first start back this weekend against his former coach, man.
I know.
Playing Washington. And it was funny. I don't know if you listened to after the game last night. Or no, it was halftime. Halftime of the game last night. Mike Florio was asked by Mike Tirico if Ron Rivera – or no, Mike Florio said he asked Ron Rivera if he had a special playbook tucked away in case he ever had to play against Cam Newton. He said, yeah. He said, yeah, I do. I have a special game plan to play against Cam if that ever occurred, and it looks like it will this weekend.
I'm going to watch that glued to my seat.
Speaking of Washington, they will have to stick with Taylor Heineke the rest of the year. Quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick not expected to return with his hip injury sustained in week 1. Big news out of Pittsburgh Steelers. They placed safety Minkah Fitzpatrick on the COVID list already. He joins Big Ben on the COVID list. Big Ben expected to be back this week after just 1 week on the list. Ben's vaccinated. I haven't heard if Minka's vaccinated or not. If he isn't, that means he would be out this week. If he is, he could still return this weekend. Titans, I already said it earlier, but they placed wide receiver Julio Jones on IR, minimum 3 weeks, including this weekend. So 2 more games for Julio at the min. Saints placed defensive back CJ Gardner-Johnson on IR. He has a foot injury. He's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. Absolutely terrible news on Friday. Actually, it came out on Saturday, but it occurred Friday at practice. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods done for the season.
God. People talk about OBJ joining a potent offense, but in my opinion, Robert Woods is way more valuable than OBJ.
Dude, oh my God, I was so mad.
Broke my heart.
He is like the lifeblood of a lot of my fantasy leagues, man. He constant points. And it's like no one really thinks of Robert Woods when you think of consistent fantasy producers or consistent real life producers. Probably the best blocking wide receiver in the NFL.
100%.
So yeah, and he does a lot. You know, Cooper Kupp doesn't run those jet sweeps. It's Robert Woods that runs them a lot of the time. So I don't think we'll see OBJ running a jet sweep. So, also torn ACL, done for the year, happened yesterday. Washington football team defensive end Chase Young, just another blow to an already poor defensive season for the football team.
Well, and it messes up Ron Rivera's playbook for Cam Newton, does it not?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's okay. He has 5 other first-round picks to choose from on the defensive line. So
I think when I saw that, and I got an update on my phone because I wasn't necessarily watching the Bucks Washington game.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I immediately said, and I hate and I don't want to like reciprocate this on other people. I'm not playing, collegiately anymore. But when you see an injury where it's non-contact anymore, it's almost a torn ACL, MCL. Where when I was an athlete, I remember the ACL injuries is when you had a contact happen or someone bumped your knee or you landed on someone's ankle. Nowadays, all these knee injuries, in my opinion, are happening when no one's around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Calvin Austin is headed to the Senior Bowl. Memphis wide receiver. Fantastic little guy there.
Slot receiver.
The Packers, couple injuries here. Running back Aaron Jones, he's out 1 to 2 weeks, sprained MCL. Raiders fullback Alec Ingold, he made, the bad things come in threes. He made it the third one last night. Tore his ACL as well, out for the year, fullback for the Raiders. That dramatically changes their running game. I mean, he was like how they use check in San Francisco. I mean, he did it all for them. Core special teamer as well. Falcons not optimistic. Running back Cordero Patterson be able to play this Thursday against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. Sprained ankle for him. Steelers linebacker TJ Watt, week to week with a hip and knee injuries. Had an MRI this morning. It was negative, thankfully. It's still not out of the question that he plays this week against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. So luckily it's Sunday night, so he has, that whole day extra to get ready. But yeah, we'll have to see. If anything, I think at the very least he's going to miss the Chargers game, and that's it. Knowing TJ Watt, I don't think he's going to miss more than one game. Also with the Steelers, corner Joe Hayden is day-to-day. He has a foot injury. And Steelers guard Kevin Dotson has a high ankle sprain. He is week to week.
I think that's going to be a good Sunday night matchup.
Yeah, Monday Night Football kicking off right now. Rams getting the ball first, 2nd and 5. I have it at their own 30-yard line. Bucks defensive tackle Vita Vea. He has a bone bruise and a slight MCL sprain. Packers linebacker Rashawn Gary hyperextended his elbow. Going to try to play this week. Has an MRI coming tomorrow. We'll see if there's anything extra there or not. The Cardinals quarterback Colt McCoy, he has a pec strain, should be able to play this week if Kyler Murray's still not good to go. But we'll have to see what that situation is.
Who would be the third string quarterback?
Chris Streveler, who played a little bit in the game yesterday when McCoy went out. The Packers linebacker, that's a Way Cup. Packers linebacker Whitney Merciless, who they signed in season after his release from the Texans. For his bicep, he is done for the year. And playing tonight, even though they're on offense first, the Rams will have linebacker Von Miller and wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. making their debuts in LA, for LA, in San Francisco. All right, pick standings. We all went 1-1. We were all in the same boat. I'm still 2 games back because I'm the only one that ever picks anyone different than the other 2. But yeah, we got the Colts right on. Oh, what are you doing, Matthew Stafford? That was a punt. OBJ probably ran the wrong route. That's why. I'm sure that's the reason. I don't think Matthew Stafford throws that otherwise. OBJ already being detrimental to the freaking Niners or to the Rams, Mark.
Well, we all know his past history.
So we got the Steelers right. I went too far back. We got the Steelers right on Monday night, and we got the Ravens wrong on Thursday night. Very, very wrong. We were on the Ravens on Thursday Night Football.
That was a bad pick for everybody.
All right, but tonight we're all on LA. We're all on your boys. I know you don't like picking them, and they just threw a pick. So,
well, that's trailing off from the Titans game on Sunday night.
I took them. I took a -3.5, Mark. So,
if he keeps having turnovers, it's. I mean, I think any Super Bowl team has to go through
the Bucks did last year for sure.
A little fire ring. Is that a good or a valley? And this could be the Rams that brings character, but you also just signed Von Miller and OBJ, and it has nothing to do with character issues because I know Von is a great teammate and OBJ cares about winning enough. But let's get on the same page. It is a conference or division foe, and Kyle Shanahan has had his friend's number a few times in his career. So even though I picked them, if they lose this game, I won't pick them the rest of the season.
Like I said, the good thing, the solace that you can find in that interception was, one, like I said, I think OBJ probably ran the wrong route. And for 2, the good thing was it was more like a punt. I mean, the Niners are getting the ball at like the 10-yard line. So
yeah.
It's not terrible. It's not like the Tennessee interception last week, or the two that.
And I don't think, for me, I don't like either one of the run games, but I think the Rams can get to the San Francisco run game. So that's why
I hope not.
I picked them. If the Niners can run the ball, I actually think this would be a really easy upset.
Yeah, I hope not, man. I am in my law school league. I started the night up 6 points. I have Cooper Kupp facing Matthew Stafford and Darrell Henderson. And Hendo already had like a 10-yard run. But Matthew Stafford -2 points for the interception. Good for me. Bad for my Cooper Kupp first touchdown bet. So I'm hoping the Rams get a stop. Kupp, they drive down, get Kuppy in the end zone there to cash that. I haven't hit one in a little bit since Tyreek Hill a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football. Or no, that was Sunday night. I think I hit that. Maybe, I don't remember. Maybe it's Monday. But yeah, anyways, I also have my same game parlay for this game. George Kittle, 5 receptions plus Kittle over 64.5. So I need 65 receiving yards for Kittle. I need 65 rushing yards from Elijah Mitchell. And I have Cooper Kupp touchdown, anytime touchdown, and the Rams to win the game.
I like that.
$10 to win.
How about Thursday? Are we all
so
differing?
This one over under tonight is at 51.
Are we differing?
No, but before we get there, I forgot to say the college games. We got the Maction that has started since November started. We got Maction on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So we got tomorrow night Toledo, 5-5 Toledo. They are 6-point favorites at Ohio, who is 3-7. Over under is 54, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 6-4 Western Michigan, Battle of Michigan, the directional Michigan schools. 6-4 Western Michigan, 5-point favorites at 6-4 Eastern Michigan. Over under is 68. 7:30 on ESPN2. I am going to watch that game tomorrow night while I study. I think that one is going to be a fantastic game for those two. We also have tomorrow night Bowling Green, 3-7 at Miami, Ohio. 5-5. The Redhawks are 15.5 points for the Redhawks. Big Ben's alma mater there. Over under is 51. I'm going with the under and 8 p.m. on ESPNU. 2 Maction games on Wednesday night. Northern Illinois, 7-3. They're only a 2-point favorite at Buffalo, who is 4-6, fighting for a bowl. Over under is 64.
We know the quarterback at NIU, but I could see Buffalo giving them a hard time.
7 p.m. on ESPN2. And there is Vaughn, number 40 Von Miller. Look at that. But yeah, I won a live bet on NIU last week, plus 235. I threw that out on the Hermo happy hour. My guy Troy Hermo, he's going to be on the pod sometime soon, giving us his betting insights on the NFL and college slates. Other Wednesday night Maction games: Central Michigan 6-4 at 5-5 Ball State. The Cardinals of Ball State, 2.5-point favorites. Over under is 62, 7 p.m. ESPNU. And then, unlike this past Thursday, the college game this weekend on the ACC is not as exciting. It is 5-5 Louisville, 19.5-point favorites at Duke, 3-7 Blue Devils. Over under is 59 and 7:30 on ESPN.
Take the over.
Yeah, Monday night going on right now on ESPN. Great big long catch for George Kittle. I need the Niners to get stopped though, please, Rams.
No one took the Falcons, huh? At home?
Super Bowl 51 rematch. Patriots 6-4 at the Atlanta Falcons 4-5. Pat's getting 5.5. And
I thought that 2 of us would take the Pats and 1 would take the Falcons. Because you always say on Mondays and Thursdays we don't differ, but it's easy to.
Thursdays are terrible, dude.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to differentiate because the games aren't good. That's why you're playing on a Thursday.
Yeah, Monday nights I think are really good games, but Thursdays are usually terrible games, man. But yeah, I think we're just riding a hot team. I mean, the Falcons are up and down, up and down, up and down. Patriots have been a steady climb, and
this could be their. Now that we all picked it, mark my words, because we don't win a lot of games when we all pick them. This could be the short week where, the Falcons figure out offensively what they're trying to do, and they score a field goal better because it's a short week. Well, we all know that Mac Jones has looked better, and they obviously have a better coach than the Falcons. But it's a short week, and it's on the road.
Well, I mean, no Cordell Patterson likely for the Falcons. That puts. I don't know who they would start, because you would think they would start Mike Davis, but based off Wayne Gallman's game against the Cowboys, I think Gallman might start at running back for Atlanta. Hopefully that's a holding penalty on the Niners. I'm praying, because luckily I don't have the Rams to score first. The Niners, I'm okay with kicking a field goal. That's fine. As long as the Rams go and get a touchdown after that. But of course it's offside on freaking Terrell Lewis. Great. Over under is 47. I'm going over. 8:20 on Thursday, Fox and NFL Network. And next week, week 12, we'll be back. It will be Thanksgiving week.
Yes, sir.
We'll be talking about the Monday night matchup, the rematch from 2020, where the Bucs struggled in New York at MetLife Stadium. Giants at the Bucs. We'll see if the Bucs can beat them again, maybe a little bit more handily than they did last time. And then we'll be previewing the Thanksgiving Thursday games. We got the early game is Bears at the Lions. The afternoon game, Raiders at the Cowboys, and then the Thursday night game, Bills at the Saints. I don't think that Bills Saints game has as much weight as we thought it was going to. I think the Bills win it, even though, Thanksgiving Thursday night in New Orleans may be something special to see, but with Trevor Siemian, I don't think
I
so.
still can't believe that the Packers won't be on Thanksgiving Day. They just always seem to be growing up. And if we want to kind of go live on Instagram during Thanksgiving, I think we should.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If the Rams can help me out and get a turnover, that'd be great too. But that is the show. Long one today. We had a lot of great discussions, though. If I had a video editor, he or she could clip them and get them posted, but I don't. If anyone would like to be a video editor free of charge or for stake in the company, that's what I can offer you at this point until Mark's company makes a lot of money. Then we can get a paid video editor.
Sponsors next week.
Our associate sponsor. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our site. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio as well. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris. I know he had to leave for little Chris. But we will see y'all